So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner, because you could shine his black head like a bowling ball. But anyway, it may not be as big, but you get the point. So anyway, it is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So we also like to say a big giant hello and thank you to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you just viewers, you are participants as well. And I will share the link in the comment section there in just a few. But today we are going to be talking about the Zoot Suit riots that took place in 1943. A lot of people probably have never heard of them, but I will give you as much information as I can. And I'm going to draw a point here. I know some people are kind of taken aback by the Black and Brown Coalition comment, but I put it that way for a reason. So bear with me here. Who do we have on here? We have 2 Cents. How you doing? He says, I hope it's the last. Okay. He also say, wait, coalition. Who was fighting who? We're going to get into it, right? Moni, how are you doing? And thank you so much for sharing. You say, much Detroit love. My beautiful brown sugar boo Donovan. Happy, wonderful birthday. You get until 6/30, 2023. Woo! Still embrace your birthday. Never let anyone tell you you can't celebrate your birthday on your time. Brother Critical, how are you doing today? Mike, how are you? All right. So, Donovan, what's going on with you today?
Well, finally, it is starting to get hot here in Riverside, California. Unusual weather. We've been having May gray. We call it May gray. And then it's been very, very, very cold. But welcome to the Demetra K Show. If it's Sunday, that means it's Demetra K. Do us a favor. It is absolutely, positively free. Hit that like button so it'll help us with the algorithm. And if you guys see the scrolling banner at the very bottom and you want to donate to the show, please use any of those applications to do so. It would help us put out more content and keep you guys informed on what is going on and what is doing. This topic by Demetra, we didn't get a chance to discuss it, so I'm very sure she did that on purpose so that I could see or have an honest opinion about what we're going to discuss today. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm in the dark just as you guys are. So of course I'm here to eat her lunch. So let's get into it, Demetra.
Notice the title, Master Debater. Okay, don't ever get it confused. So anyway, who else came on here? Jen Michael, how are you doing? All right. So he says, love, your hair is very bad. Oh, okay. I think you mean bad in a good way. All right. Well, thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the Zoot Suit riots of 1943 took place in Los Angeles, California. And I want to show you guys a really quick video to kind of give it some context of what actually happened. And I'm going to fill in the blanks because it doesn't fill in the blanks, if you will. So give me a moment to put it up here. Here we go.
Pretty much anything goes. But did you know that in LA, it's illegal to wear a Zoot suit? A supersized, flashy suit popularized by style-conscious Latinos and African Americans. This fashion crime dates back to the Zoot Suit riots of 1943. America is at war overseas, but in the diverse city of Los Angeles, a group of Mexican-American youths wearing Zoot suits draw the attention of 12 off-duty servicemen who see the boys as unpatriotic at a time when fabric is tightly rationed. A violent attack erupts. The kids, some as young as 12 and 13, are viciously beaten. Their clothes set on fire. The incident sparks waves of racially charged clashes between military personnel and members of the Latino community. The violence lasts for 5 days. In the wake of the chaos, Los Angeles City Council issues a ban on Zoot suits. The Zoot Suit riots, as it came to be known, received widespread attention. America was shocked by reports of police brutality and systematic racism in the city. But the Mexican-American community banded together and a force for good emerges, the Chicano movement, championing civil rights for all and the promotion of Latin American culture and pride. Today, almost 80 years later, Zoot suits remain outlawed in the City of Angels.
Okay, so that was just a little bit of history. I'll make sure I'm removing the right thing. And that was brought to us by Untold History on YouTube. Okay, so that gave you a little context as to what happened. So again, 1943 Zoot Suit riots took place. Now, the aggressors, if you will, were Navy from was it Long Beach. Then he had police officers and civilians that are also involved in that. Now, as it said, textiles and a whole lot of other things were being rationed, if you will, in 1942 to support the war effort. And wool was one of those things that was being rationed because it was actually the material that was used to make the servicemen's uniform. So an underground market took place where zoot suits were being made. Now, some of you guys are probably saying zoot suits. Why are they attributing that to the Latino community? Well, as you guys may or may not know, let me see. Let me find my slide here. Those are our people wearing the zoot suits. Now that I believe was in Harlem. Now the zoot suit originated in Harlem, New York during the Renaissance in the 1930s. As you can see, it is a baggy suit where the jacket is longer and the pants are baggy, as well as being tapered at the bottom. And oftentimes they would wear a, what do you call a stopwatch or a pocket watch, rather, with a chain and, a fedora or something like that. So that started with us. And then that fashion, of course, caught on other places, specifically that of Los Angeles. And then here you can see most infamously, that was Cap Calloway, who, as y'all can see, his very large pocket watch with the chain drooping all the way down to his ankles and a very big hat. So that was our thing. Again, y'all know we make everything hot. Everything we do, everybody kind of wants to do too. All right. So let me remove that for just a second. All right. So as I said, there was a ration on the wool. And then when the servicemen would get off of the ships, they would see the Latino guys wearing the zoot suits that were made out of wool. And as I said, an underground market took place where it was being made, I guess, illegally at this point. And so the service men saw that as unpatriotic and they did not like it. Of course, a fight broke out, and then it continued to grow and grow and grow, where eventually the servicemen, as I said, were joined by police officers and white men, and they would go looking for the Latino boys and men that were wearing the zoot suits. But of course, y'all know we got caught up in that. They also started to snatch up Black men, and Filipino men were wrapped up into that as well. They said, as y'all saw there, they were snatched out of movie theaters and moving cars, any and everywhere. The white mob would find people wearing zoot suits, and even some that were not wearing zoot suits, they would brutalize them. They said, surprisingly, nobody was killed during that very vicious riot, but there was a Black man that was riding in a cab. He was coming home from work or something like that. I think he worked at the docks, and he had his name badge on, and his badge that said that he was working. That white mob ripped him out of the car and gouged his eye out. This man had nothing to do with any of it. And so, of course, here's where the coalition part comes into play. Now, there was a pastor by the name of Reverend Clayton D. Russell. Let me put that up. He put out an ad in, oh gosh, I forget the name. I think it was the Eagle newspaper. It's a Black owned newspaper back in the day. Donovan, are you frozen? Oh yeah, Donovan was frozen. I don't know what happened to Donovan. But anyway, so this particular reverend put out a statement in the newspaper, and he says, because we in the Negro community are more unified and have greater political power, we must lead in the demand for full police protection of the Mexican community in Los Angeles. We must stay to our great United Nations neighbor, Mexico. Saludos, amigos. And by heaven, we must mean it. So it was this reverend, along with other people, that say, hey, Black people, we need to actually, go out there and help the Mexican, because they are embattled, and we are used to doing these type of things because, of course, Black people in America have been so embattled by white supremacy. So that's what happened. That's kind of where a coalition happened, where the Blacks and the Latinos would get together and they would form a plan to get back at the service people or the police officer, the white people coming into the neighborhoods trying to start stuff. But eventually, the president, I think it was Eisenhower, don't quote me at the time, did get involved, even though the White House was summoned days before, like, yo, it's really bad here. Y'all need to do something, right? And so eventually they did send in, oddly enough, servicemen, troops to quell the violence. And the servicemen from Long Beach that was coming off of those boats were told that they could not leave. They had to stay. And so the violence stopped. And so often when that story is told, it is told really from the aspect of it just being about the Latinos. Rarely is it told from the aspect that Black people were snatched into that, right? Just minding their own business. And then Black leaders, because that particular reverend, he was considered to be a very prominent pastor within the Black community during that time. At the behest of them, they told Black people to get involved and to help. And so you think about till, moving forward to today, Black people, we are no better off, but the Latino is. And we often hear about this Black and brown coalition. We need to stick together. And as y'all saw a couple of weeks ago, there was a Hispanic gentleman that came on the show in the comment section, and he said, Latinos have always worked hand in hand with the Black community. And I said, well, I beg to differ. It's always been the Black community working hand in hand with y'all, right? So I also want to show y'all something. I actually saw this on Twitter. Somebody put it together. And I didn't know about these statements before, but somebody put them on Twitter to kind of illustrate how a lot of Latino leaders feel about Black people. So hopefully you guys can read it. So I'm going to put it up here. So I'm going to read it to you. So the first corner, it's by Hector Garcia. He's the founder of American GI Forum. And it says, we are not and have not never been a civil rights organization. Personally, I hate the word. Now, mind you, they, being the Latino community, has greatly benefited from the civil rights movement, which was on the backs of Black people, right? Then you have next to him, John Herrera from LULAC, which is a Latino organization. He says Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race and therefore are white. So he's saying we're not even we're white. We're not brown or whatever. So we're white. And then at the bottom here, you have Felix Tijerina. He says, let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I do not wish to align with him. So he's saying, I don't want to align myself with Black people. Now, mind you, Felix Tijerina, he said that in 1956, and the other ones were probably before that, right around the time that the riots, the Zoot riots was going on. And then this guy here, let me actually move my banner so I can read the whole thing. He says, I know Negroes aren't getting their fair share of democracy, but frankly, I am prejudiced against Negroes, and I do not believe that they are entitled to everything that we get, right? But again, we as Black people, we continuously help everybody else, even to our detriment. Specifically, we see that of the Black Caucus and a whole lot of our Black politicians. They always rally on behalf of the Latino community. Rarely do they maybe they used to back in the day. I don't know. When I say they, I mean the Congressional Black Caucuses and other things like that. Rarely do they rally on behalf of Black people the way they do for everybody else. And it is because of, I would say in part due to the Congressional Black Caucus, that they have things like DACA and all the immigration rights that they have and the immigration rights that they're getting. But yet you saw those four gentlemen there say, we don't believe in civil rights. We're not like the Negro. We don't want to have no coalition with the Negro. They shouldn't get everything we get, but yet they want everything that we got, right? So there you have it. The Zoot Suit riot of 1943, that was about them wearing Zoot suits. But we got roped into it, and here we are. So let's see here. I don't know what happened to Donovan he froze, but he's gonna come back and blame. He's gonna say it's StreamYard's fault. It's something going on with StreamYard. Y'all want to bet? Watch. So anyway, let me get to the comments, and I'm gonna put the link in the comment section if y'all want to come on and discuss it. So let's see here. Kenneth, how are you doing? So he says, happy birthday, Donovan. Give me the cash app. I'm gonna put my 2 cents in. Yes, indeed. Hopefully he comes back. And Moni says, I love it. It's beautiful. I wish you had your signature lipstick. It's fun. It's hot. Bad type of style. That's just sassy, and it's like Lady Boss Super Hot. Let us know if Tuesday you're live. We will be live on Tuesday. And it's hot in Houston. Hello, Facts Not Feelings. How you doing? Black America, what's going on with you? And Entree, what's going on? It says Cab Calloway made Zoot suits pop. We were wearing those, and they bit off of us. Absolutely, right? That was ours. And I know some people have argued, oh, well, it was the Latino community that originated with the Zoot suit. Is not true. It is us. And so some people are probably wondering, is it still illegal to wear the Zoot suits in Los Angeles? And it is. Now, I don't know if you actually get arrested for wearing them, but it is because the governor back then, he was like, okay, we're going to outlaw the Zoot suits so that the riots will stop, because they, again, were being targeted by what they would wear. And of course, you also saw too that the mob would often cut the suits off of people, leaving them half naked pretty much in the streets after they beat them up. So yeah, it's still illegal, but I don't know if you would get arrested for it. And Anthony, how you doing? He says, Chicago fan here. Black Lives Matter all day long. Asha, how you doing? And Moni, yep, he said Malcolm X looked super fly in his Zoot suits, and they were beautiful. Cab Calloway always wore Zoot super fly, and Hot, these brothers dressed bad, just breathtaking. Yeah, that was our people, wearing the suits. And then, as y'all saw too in Malcolm X, they had what they call the conks, the hair that was super straight, that they straightened with lye, which burns, right? But they wanted that straight hair. Black America says it's funny because most of the wool comes from Mexico. America doesn't produce much of anything. Well, I'm not quite sure where it comes from, but nevertheless, there was a ration, as there were with a lot of things during the wars, metal and a whole host of things, because they were trying to preserve those things to help with the war effort. And again, the wool was part of it. So yeah, and those servicemen didn't like it. And then they're also saying that a lot of those Latino men, which were actually boys, were dodging their responsibility to help out with the war efforts. But in a lot of cases, they weren't even old enough to even join the war. So they were ultimately, the crux of that Zoot suit riot was racism. That's what it was about. It was racism. And they found an opportunity, they being the white clan is what we're going to call them. They found an opportunity to go in there and, bust some heads. That's because that's just what they do, right? And let's see here. Mike says, if only we could take our words back. And you also say, if only we could take our words back from then, or you meant from them. And how you doing, by the way? And he says, I have Black America says, and the alphabet community also. And
yes. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Is that a cat, or are all the women you trying to beat off?
No, that was the cat. That was the cat.
Okay.
A big tip: if you have cats and a green screen, bad things happen when cats and a green screen get together. So remember that.
Got you. Mike says, I had a Mexican guy tell me I forgot my grape soda last night, and I never bought a grape soda. He didn't know that I knew the racial stereotype behind that. I had choice words for him. So yeah, even they use racial stereotypes, if you will, against us, because they say we like to drink grape soda. I like grape soda. It is the bomb. I don't make any apologies about that. Rain, how are you doing? Shalom to you as well. Monet, what's going on? Monet says many times people forget because keep in mind, Demetria, they remove a lot of this stuff out of books to keep you from knowing about your past, your current. The state of Texas, California needs more to watch. Yeah. And when we hear about those things, we also need to go on and do some research. Because as I said, it's often told from the standpoint of what happened to the Latino community in the Zoot suit riots. But Black people, and I should say Filipino people, men, were roped up into that unfairly. And as once again, Black people were called to put on their capes and go save everybody, right? Brother Don, how are you today? Thank you so much for always being here moderating. Okay. So Donovan, what say you? I know you had some technical difficulty there, but it seems like you're back in effect.
Yeah, I didn't really finish the to see everything that you were saying, to kind of comment on it. But yeah, the Zoot Suit riots go way back. We were the one that made everything sexy from the beginning. I don't know why Steve Harvey wasn't arrested for his Zoot Suits in the 90s and stuff like that. But that's the one thing I can say. Marjorie is good for him, because those were some stupid ass style of suits he used to wear. I used to hate him. I used to just hate it. But anyway, where I'm at in regards to all of this is there never has been a black and brown coalition. I mean, somebody in the world, please tell me where there was one. I just don't believe there ever has been one. Recently, AOC was commenting on Juneteenth, and she's basically saying that like Juneteenth, her people experienced the same stuff, and they should celebrate it as well because they were discriminated against, all this other stuff. I'm just getting sick and tired of these other groups wanting to be black, but not experience black. If you guys understand where I'm going with that, and it's just a shame. But here in where I live, I went to a neighbor's party yesterday. Only black guy in the party, right? They're doing their cultural thing. They're speaking their own language. So I'm kind of sitting there with my Google Translator trying to do the best that I can, the en poco Espanol that I understand. And, it's just sad. No black people in the neighborhood anymore. And this is where we're at today. There's never been a black and brown coalition. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Maxima 347. How you doing? Says she's a whole joke talking about AOC. Jarrell, how you doing? Says, hey, Demetri, have you seen Dane Calloway's channel? You know what? I have not. Y'all keep telling me to check it out. I have people sending me so much stuff, and it's hard to keep up. But I will try to check him out. A lady, how you doing? Says the GOP wants to get rid of black holidays. Which do you prefer? Marshawn, how you doing? Says love your hair. Says hey from Disney Diva. And you really love Disneyland. I want to know your opinion on what's going on with Governor Ron DeSantis and Disneyland. Something's going on with Donovan's. Donovan, are you hooked directly into the internet?
Yeah, it's just what happens. It is what it is.
I'm just asking. Okay, so let's see. H. McDaniel, how you doing? Says let Jose and Maria carry their own water. Yeah. And let's see here. Hello, Easy. How are you doing? Somebody asked me a question right now. I can't remember what it was. It's called old age moment, you guys. It's old age. It catches up to you. Yeah, but as far as the Black and Brown Coalition, I don't know if there's ever been one. That's probably the first that I can think of. But when you say black and brown, that means it's a combination, right? But lately, we've always seen Black people coming to the rescue of everybody else. We never see anybody else coming to the rescue of Black people. So it.
No, go ahead. I want to cut you off when you get a chance.
Okay.
Hit me in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke. It is a joke. And as far as AOC, yeah, you have a lot of people that try to glom on to that of, the Black cause, the Black struggle. Yeah, her people were enslaved, but they weren't enslaved over here, right? They were enslaved elsewhere. So Juneteenth is and I hate to even call it a celebration, right? Because you're celebrating the end of slavery, which was something that was horrible. It's supposed to be a celebration, celebrating the end of slavery. That I got word in Texas, Galveston, to be exact, they were the last to get it a couple of years later after it was actually ended. But yeah, everybody else is trying to hold on to it, which is why we need to be careful to say that it's for us, right? Nothing that the United States government do or will do, even up to this point, will ever be just for Black people. We've heard Kamala, we've heard Joe, we've heard a whole host of people say that they would never, ever do anything specifically for Black people. But Black people always specifically do things for the Democratic Party, especially. And then what does the Democratic Party do? The Democratic Party goes and they help everybody else, like the Latino community, that, will say, well, we ain't really interested in aligning with y'all. And, at one point, I really don't blame them. They use Black people to struggle with Black people. I'm not saying they didn't do stuff on their own. They did. But a lot of the stuff that they've done, they did it with the help of Black people. And now, they don't need us because they are where we should be in the United States of America, because they know how to organize and all that other stuff. We still have not. We know we should do it, but we just don't want to do it for whatever reason. And so, yeah, they're running circles around us, and now they are to the point to where they can be haughty and thumb their noses at us, right? So, Donovan.
Well, I have a quick question for you. I don't know if you already talked about this already. How many of you guys out there heard that the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris announced this on Twitter, that they have formed an anti-Semitism commission to look into the anti-Jewish thing where they're being so discriminated against and all this other stuff, right? She announced it on Twitter. Whatever happened to the police reform commission that Joe Biden was supposed to bring? They are openly disregarding Black people who put them into office. Now, here's my question with this. Where is the CBC? Where is the Al Sharptons? Where are these so-called Black leaders that you guys, not our co-hosts, but you guys out there keep electing into office that's supposed to be looking out for our interests? Notice that these people have gone completely silent when it comes to issues that afford Black people. Now, in Chicago, $51 million was denied initially, but the mayor of Chicago just did an end around to give the migrants, illegal migrants, $51 million. And that's going to last, they say, maybe a month or two, and they have to redo it. Now, where are the so-called Black activists that are standing 10 toes down with the Black community in Chicago to say no to this, or to say, well, where's our money for us living here? And that's every time something like this goes down, I sit around and I say, Kamala Harris is silent when we know this is absolutely wrong. Maxine Waters is silent. And all these people that come out when it's something that is good or whatever it is, they always have something to say. But when it's something that is totally in the face and disrespectful to Black people, all of them are silent. Nothing from Jimbo Clyburn, nothing from Nancy Pelosi, nothing from the Democratic Party. And I'm going to do a shameless plug here. If you guys have not been tuning into the Philip Scott show, Phil Scott is going in and showing example after example of the disrespect and the vitriol the Democratic Party has against Black people. But yet 86 to 89% of us vote Democratic for our own demise, and we get nothing for our vote, but everybody else does get something when we vote. So, I don't know what to say about it, though. But Dimitri, did you hear about the anti-Semitism commission that they formed, and what's your opinion on it?
I mean, she's sleeping with a Jewish man. That's a Jewish man is her husband. Of course, she is going to do for that community. That doesn't surprise me, because we know that the people with power, they get stuff. Black people, we have no power. Now, I know that sounds, very derogatory and all those type of things, but we have no power as Black people, simply because we do not wish to organize. We do not wish to practice group economics or anything else. We are like that baby bird that fails to fly the coop, right? The mama gives the bird a worm. After a while, the mama says, all right, you can fly, go get it yourself. But we are that bird that stays in the nest waiting for politicians and everybody else to drop something into our mouth. And we're going to starve to death waiting for them to do that, because we need to organize on our own. And then they'll start to say, okay, and I say they, I do mean the Democrats, Black people are our biggest block of voters. And now they're starting to wake up. They're not showing up to the polls for us like they used to. So now we are going to have to do something for them to get them back. And to me, it's just, I don't understand how anybody could consciously go into the polls or the booth and continue to vote Democrat, because you can see the writing on the wall. They're bringing all of the migrants over, setting them up nicely. What they're basically saying is, hey, migrants, how y'all doing today? Did you sleep comfortably last night? Do you have a nice pillow and, blanket and all the resources? Do we have enough channels on the cable television station for you? How about a little money? We're going to get you a job too. You know why they doing that? Because they're like, surely if we do for that community, then they'll do for us. Because listen, it has been, I don't want to say prophesized, but maybe I use that word years and years and years and years ago that the Black community would be extinct by the year 2000. Okay. And here we are. So we are a very mighty race of people, but white supremacy, they don't want us here. Y'all go back and look at the eugenics program, the Negro Project. They were trying to get rid of us, and here we still are. They see that our population has not grown much since the 60s. So they don't plan on us being here. So they have to replace us. And the other thing is they know they got us. They know they got the most loyal voter. They could slap us, kick us, punch us, do the most to us. And they know that we'll show up and continue to make sure that they are in power and do for everybody else. And so I'm not surprised that Kamala is doing that. And because y'all got to remember too, Kamala is the one that was so bold with, I'm not going to do anything just for Black people. No, she was dead serious. But yes, she's doing something for the Jewish community, who a lot of people would say, you can argue with me if you want to, that the Jewish community is a very powerful community in the United States of America. So they're getting even more stuff while Black people are getting less and less of anything. So am I surprised? Absolutely not. But the other question is, what are we going to do about it? You know what we're going to do about it? We're going to show up in 2024, stroll to the polls, put on the Chucks and Pearls. Yep. We're going to twerk, tell people no vote, no vote again. We're going to do all of that to make sure that Joe and Kamala get back into the White House and give us even more of nothing. So let's see who else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then real quick, have you guys noticed that the left-wing media is doing everything that they can, like they did under Hillary Clinton, to make sure that Joe Biden has no opponent? Does Marianne Williamson have a chance to be president? Absolutely not. We know that. But why won't the Democratic Party set up debates so that we can decide and hear from just the candidates, just to hear what they're saying and how they look and all this other stuff? They won't do that. They won't have any opposition to Joe Biden running for re-election. So you guys,
I mean, there's opposition now, though.
Huh?
He has opposition now.
Well, who's that?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Well, yeah, you got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running in there. But if you guys notice, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s platform, even though he's running as a Democrat, he actually has right-wing talking points. A lot of people, if you really look at his platform, which is fine. I'm just saying, a lot of people think because he's a Kennedy and Kennedy's synonymous with Democrat, that, oh, well, that, we'll just vote for Kennedy. Hey, if that's your protest vote, please do so. I'm not saying don't vote for Kennedy. That ain't what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. But again, they're doing everything they can not to have even a debate with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They don't want to do that. They are rigging the system so badly that, it's like it's either this guy or nothing. And even the polls, if you look at the polls as they stand right now, RFK and Marianne Williamson has a better chance of beating Trump than Joe Biden does.
Well, Marianne Williamson, she kind of showed her true colors as well. When I don't know if y'all saw the video with Marcel Dixon, which she was basically big upping that of the Jewish community, and it kind of sounded like at the behest of Black people. So Marianne Williamson is like a lot of them, talk a good game, and then they get in there and they switch up or what have you.
Oh, like Joe Biden, like a Democrat.
Yeah. Well, like all of them. Yeah, like all of them. And then Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I get them all mixed up. Of course, you guys know his father was Robert Kennedy, who was assassinated. Uncle John F. Kennedy, who was a president, and then Ted Kennedy, who was also his uncle was a senator. So he has family that was deeply rooted in politics and in the White House. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his talking points seem to be a little bit more on the right-wing side, but he actually has had conversations with the Nation of Islam in regards to marijuana being laced. Well, I don't know about being laced, but genetically modified. He had the conversation, I want to say, with Dr. Wesley Muhammad, that it affects Black boys he also warned about vaccines about causing autism and, things like that. So yeah, while his talking points may seem a little right wing, but I asked this: are they right wing, or are they just different from the normal Democratic talking points? And that's what it is. But I think we should. I'm not saying to vote for him. I'm saying at least give him a look to see what's going on. Facts Not Feeling says this is how blacks will stay as permanent underclass. It reminds me of colonialism in African countries where leaders look like the people, but the people are all poor. Yep, you're absolutely right. Jean Michael, you says, yes, I've heard of it this weekend. My question is, what's the cost? And I'm sorry, I don't know what that's in regards to. Monet says, yes, Phil has been going hard lately. I hope our people are paying attention. Do we need to just throw in the towel and leave? We are up against so much. It's a heavy load. Yeah, a lot of people are saying we need to leave. I'm one of those people who would love to go back to Africa and live. But the other thing we got to consider is going back to Africa. Are we going to go over there and continue the same nonsense that we got going over here? Because if we're going to do that, we might as well stay. You know what I mean? If we're going to go over there and really make a go of it and help the African people build and get back for what's being taken from them, or are we going to go over there and be American? You know what I mean? David Luciano, how you doing? He says Kamala riding for her husband and his folks. You already know. Yeah, that's what I say. I ain't surprised by that. I mean, I'd be surprised if she didn't. And the lady says, I'm voting with Democrats so I can get my Social Security I paid into all my life.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. With all these migrants flooding into the United States, where do you think they're getting the money to support the social programs that keep these migrants afloat? Where do you think that money's coming from? It's not coming from the defense industry bills. It's not coming from the basic people's paychecks, military, Congress, and people like that. Where do you think they're getting the money from the Social Security? That's where they're pulling the money. That's one of the main reasons why they say it's going bankrupt, because people are pulling out of it that never put into it. That's one of the main reasons. So Social Security, hey, a big thing for me. I'm applying for my Social Security early because I'm 100% disabled through the military, which is a different aspect of being disabled. Hey, even if it's an $800 check or whatever it is, I'm going to take the money now, because in 10 years, I'm probably going to get nowhere near that. And then another thing, and I got to keep saying this to our people specifically, Social Security is not a retirement plan. It's to supplement whatever your retirement is from wherever you worked. So you got to think about that. Even if you got your Social Security, some of us, you can't live off of that. That is nothing to live off of. It's to supplement what you retired from.
Absolutely. And Brother Samuel, how you doing this fine day? He says, so we are like that animal that has been domesticated so long that we forget how to survive on our own. Most animals go with their own breed except domesticated animals. Absolutely. And a lady says, if the GOP will stop giving us clowns, idiots, grapists, y'all know what that means, and thieves, you might be taken seriously. But you want to be honest, lady, those people exist on both sides of the aisle. Republicans are just, they are the old hat. They are the white supremacists that are unapologetic about being white supremacists. They're going to say what they got to say. They know that they do not benefit from black vote. So they say what they want to say. But the Democrats do benefit from the black vote. So they keep all that stuff esoteric, right? They make you think that they are the party of black people. They are not the party of black people. Anything that is for you is actually going to help you. Tell me one thing that the Democrats have done for black people specifically. So neither one of them are good for us, but we definitely need to stop voting in people who are unapologetic about using us to help everyone else. Money. They say, Demetri, don't ever get it twisted. Ron DeSantis, I guarantee you all of a sudden they're going to be looking real quick to come to the black community to come back in construction and let's find cheaper labor. Well, I don't tell anybody that Ron DeSantis is a good person. He is not. Of course, we know that the migrants over there in Florida, they're saying, well, they're making it hard for us to work. Let them find 300 white people, or whatever, because that will do the jobs that we're doing. But as you said, the black community is completely overlooked. But the black community still has a power in the way we vote. We need to think about those things. Yeah, because those jobs should be going to Black people, but why aren't they? That's the questions we really need to be asking ourselves. And Elton, he says, when we accept anything, and how you doing, by the way? We accept everything people wanted. Now you gotta live with it. Yep, that's what we wanted, right? We wanted the Democratic Party to be in there, told they're for us, and they're not. They're just not. The Easy says, with their doings, drug unemployment, disease, and the new eugenics, the jab. Yes, indeed. And Brother Samuel says they mate with different breeds. So you would continue on with your last comment. King of Sorrows, how you doing? He says, I wish they gave Black Americans a $51 million pair of bootstraps to pull ourselves up by. Well, we know that's not going to happen as long as we keep voting for him. Going back to Chicago, Brandon Johnson, who was the new mayor, before he got into office, he was telling, the Black residents, well, we going to make sure y'all get what y'all get first, and then we going to think about the immigrants. And he got in there on May 15th, signed executive orders. Basically, I'm telling you what he said, because I did a story on it. It's going to be out one day on the African Diaspora News Channel. He said that he wants to, help the youth get employment, but they need to do these studies and analyze the budget, all these other things. And then the deputy mayor is going to be 3 of them, and one of them is going to deal with immigrants, migrants, and refugees to make sure that they have what they need. But on the surface, it sounds, I don't know, like it might be all right, but when you really read it, you see that they want to do all this research when it comes to the youth of Chicago. And we know they are predominantly talking about Black youth, but when it comes to the migrants, they already got it all figured out. We just need to help them, right, to get here. We just need to help them. But the other thing too is, the people of Chicago, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat as well. So it's like y'all keep voting for people who come get in the office and don't help you. I mean, Brandon wasn't even in office that long before he did a 180 on him, Well, did a 180 and was like, well, I know what I told you, Negroes, but y'all know how it goes. Y'all know I'm going to tell y'all what y'all need to hear so I can get what I want. And then what y'all going to do about it? But like I said, if he was smart, he would look at what they did to Lori Lightfoot. She was a one-term mayor, and that was the first time in 40 years that had happened in Chicago. So, y'all need to make it do what it do, because y'all see the trajectory that the mayor is on there. He's not interested in helping Black people. He's interested in helping people who shouldn't even be there in the first place. So, wins. Fairclaw, how you doing? It says, good evening from Alabama. How's everyone? We are doing well. How about yourself? Moni says, many of the Black activists, Donovan, in Chicago are speaking up out against it. It is what is happening is they're grasping for straws. I do believe that Democrats will get back the presidency. I think it's a wrap for Biden. I mean, of course, you guys saw him fall the other day. Now, I don't care. I don't like Joe Biden's politics, and I wouldn't even say I like him too much as a person, but I don't think it's funny that we are laughing at an 80-year-old man that's falling. I have a 79-year-old father, and it would disturb me deeply if somebody thought it was funny that he fell, because I think at some point in time we need to be able to focus on people's politics and not the silliness, right? The man fell. I don't find any joy out of that. But people watching that kind of stuff, clearly Joe Biden has something cognitive going on with him. He's an older man. The other thing too is Kamala is next in line if something happens to him. I mean, there's a question. I question if Joe Biden will even finish this term. But if he gets in for a second term, is he going to finish that one? And if he don't, there's Kamala at the helm of the country, the leader of what they call the free world. And she was rejected when she was running for president in 2020. So I don't know. A lot of people are looking at that, and they're getting kind of concerned there. Trump, I would tell you, is looking good to a lot of people. I personally have had conversations with a lot of Black people who were staunch Democrats and said that I am voting for Trump if he runs for office. He gets on the GOP ticket, he's got my vote. So that's a problem for the Democrats. Rain says, if Biden runs, it's elder abuse. She crazy. The Wins, Fair Clay said corporate Democrats. Yep, they all are, if you ask me. Facts Not Feeling says Williamson is against you mean reparations? At first, she wasn't. She was actually one of the first candidates back in the day that start talking about reparations, but I don't know. I haven't listened to her lately. Yes, David, crime bill Joe. Rain says Biden is not here for their mentally. Facts Not Feeling says Kennedy supports wars. He is no different. I mean, they all do. You know what I mean? Hello, Thunder. Thunder, you took off the other day. I was trying to get to your question. Listen, I know it was heated on Wednesday, but they did answer your question. So my apologies for your question not being answered. You know how some people do. They get the bobbing and weaving, right? But welcome back anyway. Asha says no reparation, no vote. Yep. Jay Bubba, how you doing? It says recall the mayor of Chicago, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. I wouldn't be against that at all. Brother Don says, no, we're going to leave them here. Okay. So you talk about some of the people who don't want to go. Yeah, I think we really need to start having that conversation of leaving people behind. We're not dragging everybody along anymore. If you want to stay and be a degenerate and do, the stuff that we don't want to do, stay. In fact, we're begging you not to come with us. And that's just why I'm at with it. As Marcus Garvey said so many years ago. The lady says, valuetainment and pearly things have colonized social media, and black men are handing it over to them, just like the black leaders in Africa did. Wow. You also say entitlement programs like wealthy tax cuts have to end. Yeah, but in a new debt ceiling deal, they made sure that those people were doing well, but everybody else, student loan thing is off the table. In fact, a lot of people are starting to talk about boycotting. They're saying, we're not going to pay our student loans. What you going to do? Give me bad credit? What, I'm not going to be able to buy a house? I already can't do that.
Right,
So
exactly. And then how many of you guys thought in that debt deal, they made sure that this one would not come up in the next 2 years so that Biden can run without being questioned in regard to the debt ceiling over his head. So that goes to show you, instead of these politicians representing and being public servants to the people, they are serving themselves. All Biden was worried about is, I want a clear path without any distraction back to the presidency. To hell with everybody else. And what does Demetra and I say when it comes to people who run for president or run for re-election as a president? If you give them a second term, everything they promised you does not matter. Obama is the prime example. What did he say? Well, I should have done more for my people, and a lot of things came up and stuff. But if y'all vote for me this time, I'm gonna make sure I do what I need to do. He gets back in there, didn't do anything, and pays no repercussion for it.
Maximo, you say, I don't think that's Joe Biden we're looking at. I believe he's passed on too many different occasions where he looks different. My conspiracy theory, nothing is beyond believable. That's a new one. What is it, like an AI president or something? He's up there.
Well, if you do think about it, he does not make a lot of public appearances compared to his contemporaries. He doesn't make a lot of public appearances. He stays in that basement or wherever they have him, and he comes out very rarely.
Rain says, all you foundational Black Americans, if you think that you are African, please go back. Stop telling us and go. You sound like Phil. Well, I mean, everybody is not what you call a foundational Black American, which means that you were never brought from Africa, or your people were never brought from Africa. As we know that there are some Black people that were already here. So if that is you, then yeah, you stay, make it do what it do. But I am not a foundational Black American. My ancestors do come from Africa, Nigeria to be exact, and among other places, but mostly Nigerian. So yeah, if you're a foundational Black American, by all means stay. Y'all, you make it do what it do. But I don't think the call has ever been for everybody to go. Like I said, as Marcus Garvey said, there's some Negroes that are no good here, and they ain't gonna be no good when we do go back to Liberia, is where they were trying to go. So y'all stay here. And I'm not saying this to you specifically, Rain, but yeah, some people just stay here, and if like nobody's making you go, right? Elton, you say no one remembers or can show proof. I said if she didn't get it from Black folks in Cali, why are you throwing the cape on and voting for her? Yeah, you're absolutely right. California rejected her wholesale. Like, we don't want Kamala in the White House. In fact, her campaign went bankrupt, and she had a whole lot of internal fighting. It was over really before it started. And then Joe Biden came and said, hey, gal, we got a job for you. And that's how she's in the White House. But she would have never gotten there on her own. But just to imagine that she could potentially be there if something happens to Joe Biden, right? A lady, you say, Dems in the past voted for unions. I vote issues, and I vote local. Yeah, of course, you should vote local because that's where the most impact is, right? Facts Not Feeling says, if Kennedy supports war against Russia and China, he supports war against Africans. Actually, he, if I'm not mistaken, he said that we should stay out of it. He said we should not be helping Ukraine. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he did say that. So he says that that's not our business. We have no business even helping Ukraine. So that's I believe where he stands on that.
Absolutely, but let's put some historical factual stuff here. Was it not the Democrats that got us involved in the Vietnam War on a lie? Was that not the Democrats under Lyndon Baines Johnson? Absolutely, it was. Was it not the Republicans on a lie that got us into the Gulf Wars? Yes, it was. These politicians are the same. There is no Democratic Party. There is no Republican Party. There's only the ruling party. And that's what people have to understand, especially us as Black people. We have to understand that both of these parties play good cop versus bad cop. And if any of you guys have been arrested or seen some of the arrest movies, what was that part in Menace to Society? Remember when Bill Duke was sitting there and he was like, you know you fucked up, right? You know you fucked up, right? He's playing the bad cop. And you always had the good cop, hey, I'll help you, hey, just take it easy. They're giving you water. That's what they do to Black people. But for some reason, the most racist party, the Democratic Party, which was started on racism to keep Black people enslaved, has magically and magnificently turned the very people they oppress and made them their biggest supporters. It's amazing. Both of these parties are the same people. They just play a game of good cop, bad cop.
Absolutely. Tyrone, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
We're doing well. What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've been listening to I've been listening to the new black media for a minute now, and they do usually go hard about around. They usually go hard on a regular all the time on the Democrats and everything or whatnot. But man, like I'm really feeling like I want to get more political minded now, and so I want to be more now a person who vote on policy rather than party now. And so I know this is a little bit off topic, sorry, but I just wanted I felt like y'all two could help me, man. How do I take that step in that direction?
To be more about policy other than party?
Right. Yes, that.
It's really just researching the issues, especially if you're talking about on a local level. See what the issues are locally. Do your own research. Don't listen to everybody else telling you what to vote for or what the things are. Go actually do your research. That's what I would say. We know what the needs are in our communities by just going outside a lot of times, looking to the left and the right, you know what I mean? Or driving down the street. So do your research, do your homework. Because I always say, and now some people might not like it, I say, I don't think people who are politically immature should vote. I don't think you should be able to go into the voting booth and make a decision for the rest of us if you're like, and not saying you, Tyrone, not saying you, but some people saying, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, that looks good. Or that's the name I know. I'm going to go ahead and vote for that. Or my mama and them told me to vote, go in there knowing as much as you can. Now, listen, I know there's a lot of stuff on the ballots a lot of times, so a lot of it you can't know all at once, but try your best to know as much as you can so you can go and make an informed decision. But I totally agree with you. We should be voting for policy opposed to, well, that politician is Black, so I'm always going to vote Black, because we see how that's panning out for us, right?
Right. So that's what what I should go to like whoever's on the ballots. I should maybe like go to their websites and check and see what their policies are. What do I agree with them and stuff like that? Like maybe are they offering tangibles, or if they're not offering tangibles, well maybe they're offering to stop something that's hindering the Black community or whatnot, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times if you have the opportunity to go to some of their platforms or their forums, and they allow you to ask questions, just straight up ask them. As a Black American in this, district or town or whatever, the state, what are you going to do for my community specifically? We want reparations. Are you on board for that?
Right.
Just straight up ask them, because you are supposed to they're gonna be getting in office supposedly to help you. So you have the right to ask them. But see, a lot of times we won't even go and show up to these public forums. We just kind of wait until it happens, right?
Right.
Right.
And let me add to this. And Demetra is a witness to this. If you really want to know how to get involved and kind of know who these politicians are, just to me, start at your city council. Start with something you already know. You live in the city, go to your city council meetings, and you will find that all of these people are connected in some way, shape, or form. And
You say like they're connected. You mean like the people that you mean like the city council members are connected
yep,
in some way?
yep.
Or all okay?
All of them. Because think about it. If I'm a city council member, what's my next goal in life as a politician? I want to get to the state assembly, the state senate.
Right.
And after I get to the state senate, I might want to run for Congress and hopefully get a seat there. They're all connected. All of these people are connected.
Okay. I'll start there. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Come back and see us again. Yeah. So yeah, just ask questions. Do your research. Show up to the forums and straight up ask them, what are you going to do for us, right? D. Griffin, you say Obama was never going to do anything. He had 8 years to help our people. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, D, to tell them the story of the second oldest Black publication in the United States and how I happened to find out about her situation and how I dealt with her.
Well, so Cheryl Brown and her husband Harvey, they own one of the largest largest and oldest Black publications in the United States of America. It was called the Black Voice, but then they turned it into the Voice for obvious reasons. She ran for assemblywoman in the San Bernardino area. She was there for one term, but then she sold out or bought in, as some people would say, and they began to call her Chevron Cheryl Brown because she took a lot of money from Chevron to do their bidding, and really forgetting about the people that got her there, which is sad. My mom actually wrote for her newspaper because my mom was a writer, so she actually wrote articles for a newspaper. But to see such an esteemed Black publication, the owner go out bad, it was really sad because she was only a one-term assemblywoman, and Eloise Reyes, who was a Hispanic woman, she came in and mollywopped her. Really was a referendum. Like, we sent her. She said, I was on her campaign. I helped send her, to Washington to help us, but she didn't do that. She enriched herself. So, kind of left a blemish on her publication, her and her husband's publication, I should say. So yeah, we've seen stuff like that quite a bit. Max Mesa, in a nutshell, like I said before, the good trouble crowd has to be no more. The mindset has to go for us to move in a different direction. I totally agree with you. Now, I'm not saying what should happen to them, but until that mindset either sits down or they go up to glory or whatever. Yeah. But see, the other thing is too, that demographic, they vote. They go in there and they vote. A lot of times we don't, and I get it, but especially on local and state things, we really should be a little bit more involved, or we should organize and vote our interests. The interest for the older crowd is to keep what they have, right? They've gotten everything they want, and they feel like, well, that's on y'all. Yeah, but we're taken care of, and we're going to keep on, as Joe Biden said, voting for the status quo. So,
well, and also you also got to take into consideration, even though the older generation votes what they vote, they also kind of mess things up because they're in office too long. In my city here, I fought a long, hard-fought battle. We don't even have a youth center in my city. Even when I was a children, we didn't have a youth center. We've got older people now that are just worried about what they can get from the city coffers. Now, why would people who are retired and have money want to build a brand new whatever for themselves, and yet you got roving gangs of youth vandalizing and messing up the city? That's going to cost us more money over the long run. But this is the way they think. They're not thinking about the future. Thus, Generation X, Y, and millennials have no future if they don't make the right decisions. They already say right now, millennials are less likely to be homeowners than any generation before them. And that is messed up.
Black America, you said, how many generations has my family been in America? whereas with a lot of Black people in America, a lot of our ancestry, if you will, the direct family tree, the lineage, has been lost. It's all over. So we haven't actually done an in-depth investigation yet as to see where our family tree exactly branches. But we can go. I know that we can go back. Let's see, probably 5. Because my father, he is, pretty much the oldest living. Just speaking of my dad's side, so he can remember his grandmother, if I'm not mistaken, maybe his great grandmother. I can remember my great grandmother on both sides, but past that, I haven't met anybody older. So I would say for probably 4 or 5 generations, as far as I can go back. Let's see here. James, how you doing? I always see you say, come to Jesus, Aaron, be saved. You say, repent and believe the gospel. If that's your thing, that's your thing. How you doing? Rain, yeah, you are not happy with people talking about people leaving America. He says, but tired of hearing about them leaving America. Just go. Yeah, those who want to go, just go. Nobody's forcing anybody to leave, right? If you want to go, you should go. But please do not feel stressed or pressured behind people saying that they want to leave. I think it's understandable as to why a lot of people want to leave. It's just a lot to deal with to live here in America, and especially be Black in America. Beverly, how are you doing?
And think about it this way too. It is so expensive to live in America. Let's say you're an average person, whatever your situation is. You could live a whole lot better in another country at the rate that you're making money here in the United States. So an intelligent person would look at that and leverage, what is the best situation for me to live? Should I decide to stay here in America and be homeless? Or should I go, let's say, across the border to Mexico or Canada and live decently?
Yeah, and as Brother Thunder says, question, how about this? The ones who want to go can go, and the ones who want to stay can stay, and both sides build up the area where they're at and stay, start doing business, manufacturing, distribution, retail, etc. Yeah, I mean, wherever you go, just make sure you're productive. You know what I mean? Because I hear the argument of staying in America, and I don't have a problem with that. I know people who I'm not leaving. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you want to stay, but stay and be productive. You're staying. What's stopping you from being productive? Now, when I say you, I'm not speaking about you specifically, but I'm saying the people that want to stay. Why aren't we producing? You know what I mean? Let's see here. I'm gonna skip down a little bit because I know that I have belabored here a little bit in the comments. In fact, I feel it says how to choose a candidate. Number 1, research the candidate's website and their policies. Write the candidates and ask specific questions. Reparation, job, crime. Yep, we should have had you answer that. Beats by Dizzy. How are you doing? Brother Reggie says, check their website, but yes, Google them to see what some of the public thinks. They could be a known criminal. That is very true, right? Because some places you can be a criminal and run for office. It depends on what crime too. I don't think all crimes should disqualify a person from public office. But if it's like financial crimes and some other really egregious things, yeah, you might not want them to be up in there.
I always talk about city council. We had a bank robber that got voted onto our city council. And when people found out, this was a 70-something-year-old woman. When people found out, I mean, the roof blew off the sucker. But there was no law stopping her from running. So, but in the end, she ended up losing her re-election because people just were not going to accept that. Here you are over tax dollars. You make decisions over tax dollars, and you're a former bank robber.
Absolutely. And our lady, thank you so much. She says, do you both agree with Pearl that women shouldn't vote? I don't agree with Pearl on much of anything. I know a lot of people do, but no, I think women should vote. Women deal with things in society as well. So yeah, women should. This so silly. It's like going back to the days of the suffrage movement. That's what they were fighting for, the right to vote, even though it was a lot of it done out of racism, because they're like, well, the Black man can vote, and the white woman was like, well, we should be able to vote too. But yeah, I think women should be able to vote. To me, anybody who's listening to Pearl, I would ask them to rearrange their understanding, because wow. Let's see here. Let me skip down just a little bit. And once again, lady, thank you so much for the donation. You also say Republicans basically shut down the government when Obama was in office. That is not true. Obama was in office. He had the Congress
for 2 years. For 2 years.
Yeah, Congress for 2 years. And so that's just become an excuse that he couldn't do anything for us specifically. He had all the power in the world, and it stopped him from doing DACA and a whole lot of other stuff that he did, LGBTQ legislation. So, I mean, it sounds good in theory.
He did the Marriage Act, all of that was passed through Congress.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that he just did not want to do. And he said it. He said, I didn't do anything for you Negroes because I didn't want to piss off white people. He said that. He said that on the podcast that him and Bruce Springsteen had together. He was like, I knew that they, really wouldn't lie. I'm paraphrasing, but that's why he didn't do it. So why do we keep giving Obama excuses when he said out of his own two lips why he didn't do it?
Yeah, I'll tell you why we do that. Because when our heroes are shown to be mortal, what's that old saying? You never want to really meet your heroes because you find out that they're really terrible people, in person when you really meet them. That's why.
Or they let you down. You're like,
Yeah, exactly. And what did Obama do? He let us down. There was nothing done. Okay, here's the truth. And I know a lot of people out there that don't want to hear it. Here's the truth. If you take Obama's record and you take the devil Trump, I guarantee you Trump did more for Black people than Obama did. Look it up.
Black America, when did slavery start in America?
1492.
I mean, some people argue, but the 1500s, they say 1619 is when the first ships docked into Virginia. But if I said that my generation, I could go back probably 4 or 5. Does that go back to the 1500s? I mean, I'm just asking. And I just told you that I got, direct ancestry to Nigeria. So, Rain, you say, Donovan. Y'all, Sunday is my heaviest work day because I do a lot of stuff on Sundays. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And Rain says Donovan Diane Feinstein is older than dirt and just as incompetent as Biden. Why is she still there?
Right. And I agree with you, Rain Love. But like I said, that's why there should be term limits. You should not be in charge of a country as powerful as the United States, or any country for that matter, and you're of an advanced age. I'm not saying that they can't contribute, but why can't okay, it's like if you're a sports person, right? Let's say you were a big star, you're Dr. J, whatever. What happens to those sports stars when they retire and stuff? They become ambassadors or whatever. They go to a advisory type situation. He's an elder statesman, she's an elder stateswoman. Put him in that position, but to actually have to make decisions. How many of you guys have seen where they've asked her questions? She's till this day, she doesn't even realize that she won't run for re-election. She's thinking she's doing a great job. She's been in the Senate. She is totally gone. But that goes to show you how. And to me, that's like somebody said in the chat. Forgive me for not remembering your name. That's elder abuse in any form or fashion. That's elder abuse to put these people out there and to put them on that platform like that, to just keep throwing them out there. Raise your hand, Diane. Blah, blah. It's sad. It's a sad situation.
Hello, Jerry. How are you doing? Let's see here. Negus, Afro Dan Doll, he says Akatas. That's a very derogatory term, so I'm not sure where you're going with that. You also say delusional, as Cynthia G said. I don't know where we're going with that. Thunder says, question, let's do like the Chinese. Do they manufacture in their homeland and use their ships and sell in their economic area like Chinatown and send money back to build up the factories back in China? Wouldn't that be a concept? I have no idea who this Negus is, but he says, we Hebesha know you. Tisha, he says LGBTQ, marriage equality, the Blue Alert Act, a few others. Yeah, that was all under Obama, but somehow we keep making excuses that he could not do for us. And a lady, I think that was you that was saying that your family flourished under the Obama administration, but the same argument could also be made about Black people flourishing under the Trump administration.
And then what Obama couldn't pass from the racist Democrats, because he tried to make the DREAM Act and stuff go through Congress, they didn't want to bring it up. He did it by executive order. And it's still being debated in Congress 8 years later today. I mean, come on, the facts are the facts.
Yeah, facts, not feelings. You're absolutely right. That was Obama that bailed out the banks. I was working at the bank when all that happened. They were, what was it? What was the name of that movement they had?
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. I was a banker. They made us all come in on a Saturday because that particular day, everybody was supposed to be withdrawing all their money from the banks in protest to, the bailout and all that stuff. We had one person come up in there. I said, y'all wasting my good Saturday for this one person. Came and withdrew $5 up out his damn bank account. So yeah, that was done in protest to Obama. So let's see here. And Jerry, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Brother Samuel says, to get in that free mindset, we have to come off that drug that America keeps us pumped up with and keeps us in a dream state. In America, dream state, we need to be quarantined in a separate state or territory of our own so we may recover and be able to do for self. As with the Nation of Islam, have been asking for land for a very long time. So, and that's a message to the Black man in America and a whole host of other publications. And it's also on the back of the Final Call newspaper. Muslims are asking for land. And they also say separation or death, right? And D. Griffin says there should be age limits as well. Yeah, I think so. But, of course, people say that's ageism. I think we need a little bit of ageism, just a little bit. Elton, you say, I appreciate and respect Donovan's contribution to this broadcast. By the way, good sir, go Eagles. Yashawn, he says, DK, do you think Jim Crow Joe will laugh at Black Americans? Damn, sister, don't go soft. Are you talking about as far as him tripping? I'm just one of those people. I could disagree with you politically or any other thing that you have going on, but I don't think I need to stoop as low as to laugh at. I don't know why my screen is looking janky here for some reason. I don't think we need to go as low as laugh at people when they fall. I mean, that to me is just my opinion. I think that's very juvenile to do that. So it's not about going soft because I don't think it's funny that he fell. I just would never find anything like that funny. As I said, I have a 79-year-old father who his hip was broken because he was trying to help some Negroes or stop them from fighting. And my father was in his 70s and he was slung by a very big Negro and hit the ground and broke his hip. And they thought it was funny. My father was hospitalized with a broken hip due to the niggerdom. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, I don't think it's funny. But, I think we ought to be politically mature enough to say I could separate him falling from his politics and the things that he has done to hurt Black people. So it's not an issue of me not wanting to laugh. I just don't see the point in doing it. Easy says Donovan moved to H. Bros, they talking about he was in Donovan's in Cali. He too bougie.
No, what it is, I just responded to him. I said, if I moved to Houston, I would never leave the strip clubs and I'd be a homeless person out there because I've given all my money to the single moms over there.
Oh, God. Yes, facts, not feelings. Dianne Feinstein, yep, insider trading. A lot of them have, so now she don't even know how much money she got because she's like, what's money? Because she's just been there so long. She's the oldest member of Congress, and she's basically having to be, she's just not running for re-election because she doesn't even know, right? There's a lot of things going on. She hasn't even shown up to work in a very long time because people's like, well, where has she been? And she's finally had to say, all right, y'all. We'll go retire.
Right. And then how many of you guys, it happened a long time ago. Dimitri's aware of this. Here's a senator. There was supposed to be a high-speed rail that was supposed to be built from San Francisco to Southern California. It was a $3 billion federal amount. And it was given to Dianne Feinstein's husband. This is how these people enrich themselves. Jim Clyburn, his daughter started a consulting firm guess where a lot of his political money goes to when he's campaigning? It goes to her political firm. And then for special favors, people donate to her rather than donating to Clyburn to avert the financing laws. Right here, Mad Maxine Waters, she gave her daughter, every time she runs, well, not every time, but when she runs for re-election, there was a time where she gave her daughter $800,000 to give out flyers and bumper stickers and stuff like that within her own family. This is how they enrich themselves. They use those type of things to make sure that their families are elevated and done that. After a $3 billion deal for the rail that Dianne Feinstein's husband was awarded, which to me, anybody could say it's a conflict of interest, right? Nothing has been built. And that was awarded over 8 years ago. So you tell me.
Damon, how you doing? You say no such thing as a black and brown coalition. Every other group leeches off of our struggle, pain, and death. We fight for freedom and justice and don't flee. We have no friends. Black America, I'm going to read these comments down just a little bit. Let's see. Complex Blackness, how you doing? He says, oh, well, I laughed. Well, I mean, that's y'all want to laugh. That's on y'all. I'm not telling y'all not to laugh. I'm telling you, I do not think it's funny to watch somebody fall down. I mean, I like to laugh, but just at things that are worthy of laughing at. You know what I mean? I just don't think that we never mind. Let's see here. Hello, Common Man. How you doing? Let's see here. Pam is jamming. How you doing? And King of Sorrows says Obama put LGBTQ ahead of us, then Biden put illegals ahead of us. We're like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football. Yep. D. Griffin says, so why is she getting our tax dollars? So you're talking about Dianne Feinstein? You know, they like to grease each other's palms by projects and, you know, rail speed bullet trains that California's been waiting for forever. You know, and things like that. So, Arniva, how you doing? A lady says true millions of dollars spent to study reparations, right? Are they spending money to study reparations, or are they even studying reparations, or is it something they're just saying they're doing, right? Sooty Man, how you doing? He said that's so crazy how they do this in front of our eyes, and people still vote for these folks over and over again. And Rain says James Clyburn do the same with his daughter. He looks out for himself and his family. Yes, nepotism is what they do. But again, what we gonna do about it? Black America, what's going on with you?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We hear you just fine.
All right. Good. Hello, Donovan. Hello, Demetra. Hey, everybody in the chat. Back to the subject of the black and brown coalition. I don't have a problem with the Mexican people or Latinos or whatever. They are a very integral part of our society, but some of them do not like us, just like some of us do not like them and don't particularly like white people. So, I mean, you're going to have prejudice no matter where you go and what you do. And the big thing about it is it goes back to the family structure and the family dynamic. Nobody respects somebody without family. That's the only thing that matters, especially to Mexican people. Their gangs, if you hear anything about their gang culture, it's all based around family. That's it, bottom line. It goes back to the family culture. We don't have families, which means, you know, they look at us as less. That's it.
For real? I mean, yeah, I would agree with you on that there's based off of family. But yeah, there is no black and brown coalition. It's been us or everybody else benefiting from us. I had a older Asian gentleman. He was like in the 70s, and he told me, he tells a lot of times those in his community, he says, you guys have no right to be prejudiced against black people. He says if it wasn't for black people, we Asians here in America wouldn't be where we are. We directly benefited off of the civil rights movement, even when they have not. And here we are being prejudiced. He said, you know, how dare we be that way? And he apologized. He said, I apologize to you from my community for the racism and prejudice that we exact upon you guys. So they know it. We just don't know it. But the other thing too is I mean, how much are they really trying to help us get anything? As I say all the time, many of them do not think that we should get reparations. Now, get that. You have people who have migrated over here, are benefiting in America for whatever. Then now they have a say so, and they say, well, I don't think Black people should get reparations due to the horrors that were exacted upon their people and them even to this day. Now they have a say so whether you can get reparations or not. It's crazy.
Well, I mean,
real quick, didn't Tupac say? Didn't Tupac say it's me against the world? I mean, to me, that's a very foretelling song, and what he was trying to say in regards to that. And when I heard that song, I said that's exactly how Black people should feel. It's always us against the world. We have no friends. Nobody wants to. We open the door for everybody else, and it's just us fighting everybody. We are the only. And I know a lot of you guys here realize this. We are the only group in the African diaspora that fights white supremacy every day. We're the only group that does it. The lost group here in the United States. We're the only ones that do it. It's us against the world. The Haitians don't fight white supremacy. Most Africans don't fight white supremacy. They don't do it. We do it because, number one, we're a small group here in the United States, so we have to fight it. In most of those countries, they are a majority or a good portion of that country, and a lot of them are colonized, so they don't think there's anything to it. So I just wanted to add that in. Go ahead, Black America.
All right. Quick question on that. A side note: would you move to any of those countries, though, Donovan? You would? I would not. That's the only thing that I would. That's the only thing I agree with Trump on. Is those places I would move to. But as far as the political end, I hear you keep talking about the Republicans and the Democrats and what Obama did or did not do for Black people. What exactly would one of you guys expect for him to have done? Because I love history. And all through history, you see anybody that helps Black people has came up deleted. Okay, any president that's helped them, any civil rights leader that's helped them, only person that hasn't came up dealt with is Farrakhan. So what do you suggest, or what do you want them to help Black people with besides reparations?
Donovan, you want to answer that? You want me to answer that? Well, I mean, reparations is a huge part of it. We also want our land. We were promised that 40 acres and a mule. We were not, well, originally they kind of gave it to us, but then they took it back, gave it to white people. We want our land. We also had a lot of ancestors, Black people, that already had land, real estate, a whole bunch of stuff that was just straight up stolen from them. I read a story the other day, California to be exact, where 203 acres were stolen from Black people from the state of California. Stolen, not only just the land, but the real estate and everything else that was attached to the land. And I've read a couple other stories. That's just California alone. And we also want to be left alone to build and to do what we were doing as we did in Black Wall Street and so many other towns. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, but hell, if you just give us our reparations and our land, and we'll be on our own and do our own thing. But we say that any president or anybody has tried to do anything for Black people have ended up deleted. Yeah, that may or may not be true. But the other problem with that is we don't help them help us. It's so easy for them to say, I'm not going to help Black people, because Black people, we too busy arguing about everything you can think of. We're not an organized people. My father often tells me that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told, I can't remember which president was it, maybe it was Eisenhower. Don't get me wrong. He said it'd be easier to put pants on a camel than it would be to teach the Negro that he is not that, right? So once we get it out of our minds that we are not deserving and we move toward that, then it'll be easier for those politicians to help us. But they could do stuff for us. But I guarantee you one thing, when Black people stop showing up for them, they're going to start to do something. You just watch. We just have to just do it.
Correct.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just add, I mean, here we are in the country. Is it unfair for us just to ask for equity? If you're going to give this group and you're going to give this group, shouldn't our group get the same type of treatment? And that's one of the main things that I ask is equity. No, I still want my check, but if you can't give me the money up front, all of it up front, I'm willing to take a payment plan. But don't go give the Japanese this and the Jews this and these people this and the migrants this, and we get nothing. I'm fighting for equity. To me, I don't think there's anything wrong with equity, especially when you're taking my tax dollars and all the things that I do within this country. You're taking my time, my effort, my service to the country. I just want a fair equity and fair treatment. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, and I think that's something that is inalienable for those of us that are native born here in the United States.
Well, I definitely understand that, but even if you go back to the 40 acres and a mule, that was something that came up by a general. It wasn't something that was ironclad or written in stone by the president of the United States. So we keep going back. That's somebody writing a check that they ass couldn't cash. So, oh, we're going to give you black people this. It's just like with this Juneteenth. I think Juneteenth is stupid because 2 years earlier, a black regiment had came down through Texas and told them slaves down there that they was free, but they didn't believe them until 2 years later when a white regiment came through there and actually told them, it was free. It's too late. 2 years. I mean, that's like finding out a baby is yours after the 18th year. I done paid all this money for this kid already. So,
Black American, not to cut you off, but you got music in your background. Sometimes when they hear music in the background, they'll demonetize the video. I can't tell what it is, but the algorithms, they sometimes pick it up. So I don't know if that's something you can help or not. I just want to, throw that out there. Michael, how are you doing? No worries. Michael, what's going on with you today?
Doing okay. How about you guys? How you
We're
guys
doing well. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I saw the title regarding the about the LA Zoot suit riot regarding the Black and Brown coalition, and I would have to say this one I would have to say this one's very tough because yes, in theory, yes, there's been a Black and Brown coalition or any other racial group coalition, but in reality and in practice, there really is not. And I say this because historically speaking, no matter how many times that black people have fought for themselves to be to be treated equally with inalienable rights with inalienable rights that Donovan Sadiq was saying earlier. And every time that black people fought equality for everybody, they get nothing at the bargain. Nothing at the end. Whereas other groups such as Asians, Hispanics, Jews, they benefit from black people's pain and suffering. And with the Juneteenth, what Black America is saying earlier is that so having a Juneteenth holiday is like it's too late already because really Juneteenth's been passed for over 400 years. So if Democrats want to show that they really care about black people as a collective, they should be really giving Black American descendants of slavery, cash payment reparations, for the past 400 years because 400 years is really late, right? Because to have a holiday is like to celebrate someone's birthday, but not giving gifts. Like, okay, what's the point of celebrating your friend's birthday if you don't give him tangibles, right? It's just like saying like, oh, we'll come to your birthday, but we're not gonna spend money. You know what I mean? It's like telling it's showing your true colors, who your real friends are, right? Especially in this kind of in this moment or in a very like tough in tough times.
Absolutely.
And and that's why I think that it's why my title says that that Black Americans should be voting for a third party, because really Democrats and Republicans, they really don't They really don't care about black people as a whole or as a collective, because the reason why Democrats don't care about black people, because they already made a deal with Republicans over time, and history shows that. And when it comes to universal programs, like for example, like universal healthcare in 1950s, support was there, but then when the demographics were being read about Black Americans, their support for universal healthcare dropped because it's racial. It's becoming racialized, and that white people feel that if Black people get universal healthcare, what if we don't as Muzungus? And that's why white people are committing suicides in higher rates, because they know that their time is up, and they feel like committing suicide or dying early means it shrinks the tax base. And that's why if if any, like especially liberals, I put a lot of pressure on Democrats. If they really want Black people's vote, in addition to fighting for universal policies, just give Black Americans cash payment reparations, anti-Black hate crime legislation, and and um and remove a qualified women. Then Democrats, they'll be good. But Democrats choose not to do it because they made a deal with white Republicans, and it's very clear.
Yes, indeed. So, Jay, what's going
How's everyone
on?
doing? How's everyone doing?
We're doing well. What's on your mind, brother?
I actually want to say some of the same sentiments that he just said. That was actually well said. That the Republicans and Democrats, I do believe that they're working together. We have a lot of strongholds as Black Americans that we don't take advantage of. South Carolina, Georgia. We have some pockets around Texas and all that, and we don't take advantage of them. Like you said, voting third party or starting your own third party. What I do believe is, like, when you have these groups like either ADOS or FBA, Gillig Geechee, Freeman, they should be doing their own third parties. They should be going for local offices, and then start at the bottom, then start reaching to the top, because you're never going to be able to get to these people who's actually hurting you if you don't start from the bottom. James Clyburn, I hate to say this, he's number one on my list as the enemy of Black America. He's allegedly the kingmaker, but he does absolutely this king does nothing for his people. We can call him a kingmaker. But the Democrats aren't going to do anything unless we force them to do anything. And I think that during this election cycle, we really need to look at third parties. If you want to vote Republican, if they offer something better than what the Democrats are offering, okay, that's one thing. But don't just vote for the Democrats just because they put somebody that looks like you into power. I see they're promoting Stacey Abrams again, but Stacey Abrams still doesn't have an agenda when it comes to the 34% population in Georgia of Black people. She's pandering to groups. She has no idea what she's doing, and she's looking to climb up the ladder, but she has absolutely no plan to help the people on the ground, just like James Clyburn in the Congress,
Absolutely. Brother Don, what's on your mind?
Hey, Sister Demetra.
What's going on?
I'm trying to wait for this headset to queue up, because it's easier to hear you that way.
Okay, so you want me to give you a moment?
Yeah, give me a minute
absolutely.
here.
All right, so I'll go back to the comments. Facts Not Feeling says it takes millions to start a third party, brother. You got to put on in the money hundreds of millions, and that's true. It does take money. And you got to also unbrainwash people in the getting out of a have to either or, right? It's either the Republicans or it's the Democrats. A lot of times the third party does not go as far because people, they don't really, a lot of times they're seen as a vote splitter, if you will. Oh, they're not going to win. Why are they taking votes or whatever the case is? And so, yeah, you got to get people out of that mindset.
Can I push back on that, though? If I don't think it takes millions to start a third party if you're doing it in specific areas like Georgia. We know we have these runoff elections. Like I'm in Houston, we have an election in November. Everybody's not going to show up for that election. So to get into these local offices, it doesn't take millions of people to get on board and vote for these people.
But it does take money, and we do know that campaigns, a lot of them win on money. You need a lot of money. And you oftentimes have, and I'm sorry if I'm freezing up a little bit, you oftentimes have the Republicans and the Democrats going out working in tandem to get rid of the third party, because again, it's that dichotomy of either the Republicans or the Democrats. And so A lot of times the third party just do not have the money to even stand close to that of either party, unless you're Ross Perot. I think he was probably the last candidate that, really got a lot of attention, from a third party. But that's just the nature of the beast. If you don't have a giant war chest, you're probably not going to do too well. And Arniva, you say, and how you doing, by the way, if I didn't already, says the third party is not going to help us uniting and doing for self-will. This will give us the power to play the political game with power versus the way we play today. That's absolutely true. That's why everybody else have power. They have organized. We have not done that. We keep trying to do it backwards, thinking, well, we'll cry and tell y'all all the atrocities that you guys have exacted upon us. I mean, have exacted upon us, and then hopefully you'll feel sorry for us. That's not how it works. We have to get our stuff together and then say, this is what we got. This is what we got. And if you want us to help us, then you need to help us as well, right? So, Don, I think your headset has come into play.
Yes, indeed. And there was a good evening, Sister Demetra, Brother Donovan, panel members, and those in the chat. There was a couple things that came up that I want to address. Because people were just kind of asking this question into the ethers. It's like, why is all these groups against us? So let me just read something real quick.
It's true.
Keep not yourself.
Yeah, Rain, I saw you ask that question before. It is true. California is talking about giving migrants, if you will, $300 unemployment for 20 weeks. So go ahead, Brother Don.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I second that. Okay, so let me read this to answer that question. Keep not your silence, O Alua. Hold not your peace, and be not still, O Alua. For lo, your enemies make atonement, and they hate you and have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. This is why it doesn't matter who the people are, and it's even some people that look like us. If they're not us, they are in the nations that are confederate against us. And they, when it says cut us off from being a nation, they're talking about killing us. And that's what we've been seeing ever since we've come in contact with these people. And the other thing is this. For those who want to stay in America, knock yourself out. What I see is a lot of opportunity in Africa, a lot of opportunity to do and to be more than I could in America because of its structural, systematic racism. And that's just what it is. Some of us have been able to wiggle through and been fortunate. Some people have sold their souls to get to where they are in America. And other people that just, are just trying to live and just be black in the skin get the short end of the stick. That's why we see the homelessness we see in California. I know LA is bad, but San Francisco Bay Area is horrible too. And it's us. It's us. While these folks are busy making sanctuary cities and allowing these illegal aliens, let's just say what they are.
For the sake of, we can't just say what they are on YouTube now. We don't call them migrants.
That's so funny that we can't say. Everybody can say whatever they want about us, and they do whatever they want for other people, but not for us.
But you know what though? We know this ain't our platform. But let me finish. That's the argument there in and of itself. Like, we can't say what we want because we don't have platforms in the Now, this is the other thing too. Like, I listen to, all of that, and y'all know I don't go to church. I do know the Bible to some degree. But we listen to all of that, and then we kind of lament and say, well, we should be able to say what we want, but we ain't going to be able to say what we want. on other people's platforms. And the other thing is when Black people try to build platforms, because there's been some, we don't go over there. We stay over here. So it's like I hear that. To me, that's the same argument. And I'm not saying this about you, Brother Don, but let's go back to Africa. But then over here, we got Black people saying, hey, divest from things like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Come to these Black platforms and we won't do it. So it's like if we won't divest from the social media platforms, are we really going to divest from America? Now, I get it. We should be able to call things what they are. I know they can say the N word all day long on this platform and a whole host of stuff, but that ain't the way it is for Black people until we get our own platform.
Are we really going to divest from America? I've already started divesting from America.
I ain't talking about basis. I'm talking about just like I said, even with the social media platform. How many of us have really divested from these platforms to go to other people, Black people's platforms, which I don't even know if they're around anymore? It's problematic because I think Dr. Boyce Watkins is. I know he had a platform. I don't know what happened with that. Is it still Black Enough? I think it was called. Is that still up and running?
I never even heard of it.
Yeah, but it's been around for a minute. I don't know if it's still around. I know the Nation of Islam has had stuff, and a whole host of other people have Black platforms, but we just won't leave. So we won't divest from something like this. Are we really divesting from America?
Well, like I said, and it really does start with the individual. It starts with the individual viewers as well as the individual content creators to go someplace else and bring your folks with you.
But you know why we don't go? It's because we know y'all ain't gonna follow us. It's just the truth.
Well, I seen one brother. He and his wife. They got a thing called Off Plantation Radio. They build their people, and then they move them over to their other platform. They continue the show on the other platform. So it's going to be, until you get people matriculated into just going directly to that platform, you got to put them, slowly move them, get them into the habit of going to that platform. And that's really what it is.
Let me ask you this. Let's say Hispanic, they said, you know what? We leaving all these social medias. We going to, I don't know, to the amigos.com platform. They gonna have to say, well, let me just acclimate slowly. They gonna say, all right, Holmes, let's go on up over there, right? They gonna do it, but us, we got to be coached. We got to slowly amalgamate into doing it. Because you see what I'm saying? So it's the mindset.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct. I mean, we have taken on the mindset of our oppressor. And until one becomes conscious of that and makes those changes, you're going to keep doing these things that don't make any sense. It's like, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So why do I think why do I think it would be a bad idea to try to build a Wall Street or something like that here? It's because history has shown me I'm not going to do it here. I know my people that have done it over there and on the continent and are very, very successful at what they're doing because America, it has a special type of anti-Negro racism. So, to me, it just doesn't make it. And the fact is, everything is so expensive here. Everything is so expensive here, and they won't allow you to gain employment that would pay you a living wage. If you're a business owner, you don't think that racism follows? So it becomes very difficult in America. You can be absolutely brilliant, and you won't get a shot at the ring. And I'll land my plane there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna bring mine up off the ground. Donovan, what's the pilot term when we get ready to come up off the ground when we flying? Well, what are we doing? We're taking off. Duh. I'm about to take. So, if we as Black people, I'm just asking some questions. We as Black people will not organize here. Let's say we Watusi ourselves to the motherland. Why are we gonna organize there? Isn't it like a mindset?
Are you asking a question?
Prepare to take off, brother.
Well, the question is this. I think the first thing that you have to do is if you're going to do any enterprise, is that you have to be with like-minded people so that it will succeed. And so you got to weed out them folks that are going to cause you problems down the line. And you don't want them involved because you want it to be successful, because you also want your people to see that it can be done. And so that's my whole solution to the whole thing. It's about who I associate with, affiliate with, and allow into my organization that's going to make this thing happen.
All right. And as far as a lot of people, you said a lot of people don't want to, and I was just kind of thinking about this question here. Let me actually go back to it. Facts Not Feeling says, do you know how YouTube got so big and why we're all on it? Because they did advertising to US billions of dollars worth of advertising. Yeah, that's why people are on there, because they get paid. And so it's like, if you think about moving your platform somewhere else, you might not be getting paid. And the other thing is, a lot of your people ain't gonna go, as Tisha K said, people stay where they're familiar, and it's just been very hard for a lot of Black platforms to get off the ground. The African Diaspora News Channel has a website. We're always asking for people to go over there, go on the website or what have you, because we do have things over there that we can't necessarily show on YouTube. We're a little bit more free to say the things that we want to say. But, that there hasn't been a mass exodus, if you will, of people to go over there. So, yeah, people stay where they're going to get paid. It's just the truth. Let's see here. Common Man says, now maybe people may understand what the original Black Panthers went when they created the term Black Power. Now, do you understand? My bad. Yeah, well, exactly. But we don't use it. We don't use it at all. Rain, you say this brother speaks like FBA, but want to move into a country full of the nation that are against foundational Black Americans. Not all people are in Africa are not against foundational Black Americans. I'm going to say this, Rain, and I love you dearly, but that's something that y'all and somewhat people in Africa, not all, some people in Africa got going on. Y'all somehow have gotten into this war with each other, and I don't follow it, but when I see it, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? How in the world did Black people started fighting Black people across the world? Now, I don't know who started what, because I don't follow it that closely, but it's like, I've been to Africa. Donovan's been to Africa. And where we were, we didn't experience any of that at all. I didn't experience nobody say, hey, you Black American, what are you doing over here? Don't come on. They loved us. They loved us.
Especially Sweet Potato. Loved him some Demetra.
You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is we didn't experience any of that at all. Everybody was nice. They were loving. They were sweet and very hospitable. So that's why when I see this, listen, I've seen some, people from the motherland too. I've seen them say a lot of salty things about Black people, but it's not all Black people over here. And it's not all Africans. As you know, Africa is the largest continent. There's a lot of Black people over there. So to say that, Black people in Africa do not like Black people over here, it's not all of them. So I just kind of really hate that narrative. And I hate to see what you guys are saying, foundational Black Americans and Africans fighting against each other. It's one of the most silliest things I think I've seen. Jen Michael says, one Africa. Bobby says, have you heard of the Devil's Punch Bowl? I have. Mary Lee, how you doing? Says, yes, he's saying we can all go to. And Brother Easy said, that's part of the purge, brother. So I think you guys are referencing that of Brother Don. Let me go ahead and just scroll down just a little bit so I can catch up. And I'm sorry about that, you guys. Darlene, you say we need a platform where we can find most of the same people we watch right here on YouTube on a platform we created. I totally agree. But the thing is, we'll go, but will y'all come with us? Rain says, brother, have a nice trip. You read from the Bible about those that are against us but want to move to their continent. All right. And Roosevelt Brown, how you doing? Says being entangled in their monetary system is the problem. They control it. You're absolutely right. And Donovan, I see you putting some facts about the KKK. Said it was formed by elected Democrats. Klan leadership was almost entirely elected Democrat. You're absolutely right. They had what they call the Southern Switch. Moni, you say they are jealous of our progress and they were sabotaged every single time. Please believe this demonic oppressor and their offspring will never allow us to have another Black Wall Street again. But they will when we organize, when we actually start utilizing our power, we start growing in population, stop suffering to the abortion system. You guys know the Hispanics, they're organizing because they have just populated. They're like, we're not getting rid of our babies. We know that our babies are actually our strength. They grow and we continue our generations. They have actually lapped Black people here in America. What by what they're like almost 50%. So they run laps around us because they keep their babies. Us on the other hand, we don't necessarily do that. This is one of the ways, right? But so there's things that we could do to create a Black Wall Street. Let's see here. I'm gonna let y'all jump in just a minute. I just want to catch up a little bit. Brother Samuel says the American miseducation system doesn't allow us to think like free people. They have trained us from babies to be Black white supremacists. They meet and set the trends for us to keep us under their control, except for a few that don't absorb their training. And Brother Samuel's a teacher, so he is speaking from direct experience. Joanne, how you doing? Says I agree with the caller. We put too much whining and complaining. Look like we're still begging a heathen to love and accept us. Bless you. Accept us when they hate our guts. We need to move in silence. Donovan, were you trying to say something? Okay. All right, let me catch up. I just want to, okay, so I think that I am catching up. Caught up. Damon, you say, no, going back to Africa. My people have been born, fought, bled, and died here. A lot of Africans are bound mentally and physically by white colonialism. Many have a weird hatred toward FBAs. Yeah, like I said, I personally don't get in the middle of that. I think we as Black people in America got a lot of things that we need to be focusing on, and fighting other Black people in another continent is not on my bingo card. I just really not. Any one of you guys want to jump in really quickly and add something to the conversation?
Yes.
Quickly.
Oh yes. Just want to mention very quickly why not too many Black Americans traveling to the continent. And I just saw something earlier today, and I think this is very important for people to understand. So it's about these two Black women who moved from America to Ghana not too long ago, as a matter of fact. And the interview who's from the African continent, where he asked the woman, so by coming to Ghana, are you thinking about like opening up a business for locals? And her response was that I've been working since I was 14 years old. So why would I want to start opening up a business when I could be a mentor to the locals in Ghana? I could provide my input, my opinions, and also provide a foundation. Because for me to open a business at this age, I think the lady was maybe like, I would say mid 60s maybe. For her, it's already a lot, and she's just trying to enjoy retirement, in Ghana and the life, because what she faced in America is exactly what you said, Donovan and Demetra. Every day, like every day not going outside, to not going outside to enjoy least activities because of crime, police, etc. And she also mentioned that why it's very hard to convince her brothers and sisters to even like go outside of America to African nations, because you had to start with the stereotypes. Because I'm pretty sure that not all Africans, but some Africans have stereotypes about Black Americans, and I'm sure that Black Americans have stereotypes about Africa. I mean, the African continent, saying that African continent it's like a zoo. Everything's about about huts, and the problem is the education and the media that she was saying earlier on YouTube, that it's going to take a village. It's going to take a small village to really to inform Black Americans about the true benefits of African continent, because you can only do so much, and there's so much you can't do at the same time, because some people have different opinions about going outside of America to the continent, or even just go outside of America in general. So I just want to bring this up for some of your viewers who might express reservations what I just said, and I understand. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Michael. Please come back and see us again. Olivia says, I'm a native to North America, and we are preparing for a stand, and our foundation is on Psalms 91. Hallelujah, Dr. O. Who was that? Jay, was that you that was trying to say something?
Yeah, that was me. kind of tip it off what he just said. I would say that most Black Americans actually don't go to Africa, and I would think it's more related to the economic conditions in which we're dealing with right now. So that's why you don't see the bulk of African Americans going to Africa. I do believe that if we go to somewhere like in the Caribbean or Africa, then we will get a better understanding of our Africa or maybe Jamaica. I don't think Haiti's a safe place to go right now if you want to go. But I do think that there should be a connection between the Black people in America to Africa, to better understand the nation that I mean not the nation, the continent and all that. So I do believe that, but I think the what I'm trying to drive at is that the reason that most people don't travel is because they don't have the economic resources to travel. That's just my opinion, though.
Let me ask you this: you keep saying most people don't have the economic thing to travel, but yet we're the main ones that buy the shoes and the hair and the clothes and I mean, I'm not saying that what you're saying is not true because it's your opinion, but from what I see, we have the money. What do we throw away, Demetra? $1.93 trillion a year.
Yeah. So they say it's about 1.3 to $1.7 trillion a year is what we see in the Black community, but 97% of that is what we give away. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I could be wrong that we do have the economic resources to go, and it's just that we're not prioritizing it. I could be wrong for sure.
Yeah, we definitely have the money. I say we make up between the 9th and 11th the largest country with the financial resources that we in America as Black people realize every year. We just misappropriate it because for one, we don't really have anywhere to spend all that money because we don't have Black businesses like everyone else does. So they get our money, which is why you see a lot of Asian communities, Arab and everybody else set up shop in our community because they're like, well, we don't necessarily like those Negroes, but they got a lot of money and they don't have anybody that's going to take the money. So we'll go in there, we'll take the money from them. They also know that we are still dead in our thinking that when a Black store or something, whatever, opens up in the neighborhood, we don't go support it. Now I know there are some other issues. It's funny because I was telling my daughter earlier, I said, there's always this push to support Black businesses. I said, but what about the push to support Black customers, right? Because there's a lot of people who say, well, I went to ABC and D business and, it didn't work out. So it should, it has to work in tandem. But the point that I'm making is we don't have anything really set up to take all that money. So of course we go somewhere else and spend the money. So we just need to do better at organizing those things.
And I can actually say this. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's really interesting to have seen things develop through the years and having seen the mindset and the culture of Negro America change. When I was a kid in my neighborhood, which was predominantly Black, we had Black business owners that had stores and restaurants and stuff like that. And we patronized those businesses. Then what happened to our neighborhood was gentrification. When they start bringing the South of the Borderians in, they started moving into our neighborhoods, and then the Asians started moving into our neighborhoods, and then they threw the drugs in our neighborhood, and then folks are selling Big Mama's house and all this other stuff. And I go by that neighborhood now, and it's nothing but Asians and Latinos with just maybe 5 or 6 Black people. So that's just how our neighborhoods have become gentrified and our businesses have been run out. Now, in regard to Africa, I think that we have the funds to get there. We have to make a concerted effort. But the idea is this. The American media has done such a great job at brainwashing Black people that we really actually have no interest in actually looking to see if the things that they're saying about Africa is true for ourselves. And today's generation would rather watch foolishness on social media than actually study anything that could give them an advantage in their future. So that's my point on there, and I'll end right there.
Well, it's not just today's generation.
Hold on one second. Facts, not feelings. You say who in their right mind would buy a bag for $2,000? Oh, $2,000 is cheap for some of these bags people will be buying. Shoot, some of them go up to, I think, an Hermes bag, and don't quote me because I ain't never bought one, never will. $30,000 for some of those bags. So $2,000 is relatively cheap in regards to a designer bag. So Jay, what were you gonna say?
Oh, well, okay. So I was actually gonna piggyback off what you said. So in my neighborhood, there was actually this black-owned pizza shop. But the issue that we had with this pizza shop and why it didn't last so long is that he opened up shop. Okay, that's one thing. But his pizzas, I mean, the same size as Domino's or Little Caesars, he was charging almost 3 times the price. That's not going to work out. I mean, you're already in a low income neighborhood. Then you're going to charge these high prices. You're not going to survive that long. So you're absolutely right. They have to look out for black customers. You have to know the customer base that's around you. Another thing, I think that the reason that these neighborhoods got gentrified is because we're not participating in local politics and looking at the agenda that's on the plate. You know, we see these people, they're black, they look like us, and we just think they're going to do right by us, but that's not going to be their agenda. Their agenda is to line their pockets up.
Oh yeah, well, wholeheartedly. Demetria and I were at a city council meeting, and this lady comes in complaining and hollering and screaming about something that was going on in her neighborhood. I think it was a gas station that they were going to put in her neighborhood. Black people always show up at these meetings after the decision has already been made. She was 3-something months late to put in her public opinion to sway the council members or the planning commissioners' decision in it. We only show up when it actually happens to us at that time. And, it's so sad because with technology, like we're here on the internet, you can watch city council meetings on the internet, on your smartphone, on live local TV. If you got the local TV app or whatever, and then you got the satellite, they give you the local TV thing. I'm sure you guys aren't surprised, but it's no surprise to me that we are just checked out because we let we were watching Black, what's that show? Black this, whatever the popular show is, rather than taking the time and seeing what's going on in city council. Even if your favorite show is on TV at the time the city council meeting is going, you can always do the replay later on. So what's your excuse for not knowing what's going on in the very city you live? It's very sad.
Also, Brother Don, you were saying how gentrification took place. We cannot forget about the civil rights movement. Our ancestors, some of them are still here, thought that was a great idea to integrate with white people. Now we know, of course, there was a lot of help from them, but once we left our communities, we really had communities back then. Those things are dilapidated, and they are no more because we thought white was right. We thought it was better to mingle amongst white people, and we see how that's working out for us. And also in regards to the black businesses, with their prices are higher. Yeah, of course their prices are higher because they got to stay in business. Now their prices will be driven down if we will go and shop there, then they can compete with the other businesses. But if they see, there's a lot of cases, there are black businesses that are across the street from Asian business, Arab businesses, and you will see black people visiting the Asian businesses and the Arab businesses more than so they will their own people. And so to me, simple mathematics would be, okay, if we all go over there, then the black businesses prices will go down because they can afford to stay in business, and then they could duplicate the process. But until we unbrainwash ourselves, I'll give you guys a perfect example. My daughter and I was walking through the mall. I like to go to Sephora. It's a makeup shop, whatever, to get certain things I need to have. I'm stuck on a type of person that works for me. So as we're walking by with our Sephora bag, wasn't much. There's a black owned makeup company on the mall. They're like in the chaos thing. So there's a black father with his 2 black daughters, and they were selling makeup. And at first I thought it was a waist trainer because they had those there too. So I saw a waist trainer, and he says, come over here, and see what we got. And so I looked before I could even say anything because I was gonna say, well, no, I don't need a waist trainer. He says, oh, I see you shopping at Sephora. And so he says, we got makeup over here too. So I went over there. I said, okay, I didn't know y'all was selling makeup. What do y'all have? They had a whole bunch of stuff. As y'all can see, I don't wear a lot of makeup, but they had this lip gloss kit, and it ran me over $40. But I don't spend that kind of money on lip gloss. But my daughter was there. I said, "So, do you see anything here you want?" I was gonna buy something from her, so she picked out some lip gloss. Like I said, $40 is a lot for lip gloss. But the premise was it was a black business. They are in here competing with all these other makeup shops. They're in here trying to get it out the mud, and they'll never be able to do that if we keep walking by with our Sephora bags or wherever else you're getting your makeup from. So I did business with them. So that we have to have that mindset. And I'm one of those people. Anybody you can tell who's been shopping with me, if I see somebody black, I'm gonna give them my business. I don't care if I don't need what they have or not. I'm gonna give them my business to some way, shape, or form. So the point that I was even making to that, a lot of times we'll see a black business next to another person's business. We need to stop being slave-minded and say, well, I'm going to go see what my people got. I'm going to at least try to give them $1 or something, right? So we got to rearrange how we think. Let's see here. Winding down. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Okay, let's see here. No, you're talking to, I don't do the comments, the response. And Tisha says, yes, yes, I was given a price for the average Gucci bag. There are some bags, Hermes, Ralph Lauren, that are $25,000. Yeah, and $2,000 is expensive, but shoot, there's some people who spend way more money on designer stuff than that. And Brother Samuel said the most successful boycott is black people against black people. In the past, we support our own because we didn't have a choice. But when given a choice, we choose the white business every time. However, that is slowly changing. That is true. And we just need to keep, working at it, right? Let's see, Joanne, you say, how you doing, by the way? Says, Donovan, what's sadder is our own are so eager to take us down because they think they are doing better. Absolutely. Eddie says, Malcolm X warned us not to integrate. Yep. That obviously of the Nation of Islam. Marcus Garvey too, right? Moni says, but I find that white supremacist people only try that in certain cities and states, like in Detroit. They only keep up the downtown area for them, bringing in gentrification all to Detroit. So it looks like Bloomfield Hill. That's everywhere. Even in Houston, driving downtown Houston or in areas where we are typically are, you can see the gentrification happen right before our very eyes, and you know why they're doing that, right? My daughter and I, we went to two black businesses yesterday. We went on a bike ride. It's called the Third Ward Tours, where it's a black bicycle company. You rent out the bike and they take you on a tour and you go all around the Third Ward on the bikes and they playing the music and stuff. And then we stopped at a restaurant called the Savoy. It was a black-owned restaurant. Great. I cannot wait to go back. So, just spend black whenever you can. Mary says that's how these Hispanic people do shop their own, even if the price is high. Yeah, they don't say, well, they don't even, it's not even a second thought to them. They just do it.
Yeah, I mean, and true story. I was at a store yesterday. I'm in a Hispanic community. They will intentionally patronize their own stores. The Asians do it. They intentionally patronize their own stores. Let's say even if it was cheaper at another store, they will patronize to make sure that store and money is making sure that store is successful. They will do it.
Yeah, and Olivia, absolutely right. Says in California, Dr. Anderson put together a fish business in California. They did everything to shut him down. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Anderson had to return all of the money from I guess that was contributed. And I don't know if it was in California. I don't know why I'm thinking Maryland, I think he said, but close enough. Yeah, he tried because we do eat a lot of fish, right? It wasn't successful. And Common Man says on blackbusiness.gov, they do the same thing. Mary says, I used to think like Demetra, but some of these black business owners don't practice good customer service. Yeah, that's why I said there needs to be black customer support as well, because let's keep it a buck. Now, I want to say this too, okay? There's a lot of other restaurants and white establishments and Asian establishments we go in. They don't treat us any better at all. But somehow we like to stick it to our own people, right? We like to hold them to a higher standard than we do everybody else. Taco Bell will forget your napkin every time, and you won't go on social media and kill Taco Bell. But let the black-owned business forget a napkin. I don't go back there because they don't be giving you enough napkins. So yeah, I agree that they do need to practice good customer service, but let's not let us deter us from doing business with our people, because it doesn't deter us from doing business with white people, Asians, and Arabs when they give us janky customer service.
Yeah, and let me add to that. It's usually when you interact with somebody, in most cases, it's not the business owner, it's the people that they hire. How many times have you guys gone into a store and I don't know if the young lady, and it's sad, but it's always a young lady in most cases. I don't know if she's having a bad day. I don't know what it is, but she has an attitude, and that's what kind of sets the thing off. So I think it's really not the business owner. It's the people that they hire that don't really have a customer service background.
I agree with you 100% on that one. I was actually at a.
Hold on, brother. I'm gonna give it to you. We was doing so well until I thought today. I was like, we gonna get. I seen y'all trying to get a crunk in the comment section, but I ignored it completely. I thought we was gonna get past today without blaming black men or black women. I'm gonna tell you what. Wait. One of the last businesses I went to in California was owned by a black man, and he got he got on 100 with me when I asked him a question. He told me, "Don't be talking loud to me." And as God is my witness on my mama, RIP, I wasn't talking loud to that brother at all. Wasn't talking loud to him. I was actually trying to do my favors when the COVID, the pandemic happened, where businesses were getting fined for not having on no masks or gloves. And that brother did not have on anything. He was he was the owner, handling people's food, without a mask on and gloves and stuff. This was at the height of the pandemic. So I say, brother, people getting in trouble. And I'm saying it to him just as loud as I'm talking now, for not being properly masked and gloved. And he said, "Don't be talking to me loud. You don't have to loud talk me." And I was like, huh? My daughter was right there. So I said, "Oh, okay. I wasn't loud talking you, so I'm waiting for my order." The Negro got it all wrong. And it wasn't cheap. The food was expensive. So I get to the car and look in the bag, did not give me what I ordered at all. And I nicely went back up in there. And I said, "Brother, my order was wrong. I ordered something else, blah, blah, blah." And I also told him, I said, "I came here. I saw your restaurant was open on a black group I saw on Facebook. So at their recommendation, I came in here. I said, but I want to tell you, I'm not happy with the way you talk to me." I said, "I was not talking to you that way." Now, mind you, there was some white people in there. He wasn't talking to them all stupid and crazy. So as I was telling him my order was wrong, he said, "You know what? I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give it to you for free." Because I could have very easily went back to that same group and everywhere on Facebook and say, "Don't go to that Negro. He's hostile toward black women. He talked to me crazy in front of my daughter and those white people." But I didn't, get all turned up with him. So the point that I'm making is, let's stop trying to make this about gender and black women doing more than Donovan. You can hold your finger up. I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna give it to Jay. Hold on one second. But you said that.
No. I said in some cases. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't you? Okay, everybody in the chat, if you heard me say,
why say
wait. If you heard me say men and women, I said both parties. I said both. I said in some cases you have men, some cases you have women. But I said in most cases you run across a woman, and I said I don't know if she's having a bad day. I'm not blaming her. I don't know what it is. In most cases, it's usually you run into a female that maybe not have it, whatever the deal is. Put it in the chat if you heard that I put both people in there. I didn't say specifically women or anything of that nature.
Not the party bus. We did see the party bus, but it was the bicycles individually, so you have to ride your own bike. It was a lot of fun. I got a suntan, which I really needed. I specifically heard you make the difference between black women. Yes, you did. Because Jay, the informant, said, "I agree with you." Jay, can I get you to come on in?
Jay, please say what I said. Please say.
Yes.
You know what? Actually, I don't remember clearly. So
look into the chat.
Sorry.
People are saying right there. Jason Peters said Donovan said both men and women. Why did you miss that, Demetra? You always do that. You always miss what I'm saying.
No.
Yes.
Listen, if you said black men and women, you went on to expound upon black women. Did you not? Did you not go on and expound?
I said in most cases you're running across a woman with a bad attitude. Didn't I say that?
Okay, so if you said black men and women, which you probably did, why didn't you give the black man, we got giving back customer service the same attention?
Well, because in most cases, you're running across a female who women make up more than 50% of the workforce that you have an issue with. Other than your situation where you ran across that business owner that is a man, how many times have you run into a man at a store with a bad attitude? I rarely run into men, black, white, Asian, whatever, that have a bad attitude. I rarely run into those.
Let me put this up.
No, I see what she's saying. She's ran into both. I'm talking my experience, and a lot of people, if you look at the chats, that's what they're saying.
Donovan is very sneaky. Donovan will bring up an argument and then back up off of it. Yes, I said back off of it. Back off of it and try to rearrange it as though he didn't say what because see, that tends to make, I get that type of argument. We call that red herrings. In that case where it's a distraction. We also call them straw men. We call those a lot of things. In the argumentation and debate field, where you say one thing and then you back up off of it and then you redirect it to somewhere else.
I stand on everything I said. I stand on everything I say, and I guarantee you, most of the people in the chat, when you go to some places, especially when it comes to black businesses, it's not that, and that's my whole point of this thing. You're not going to run into the owner 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, you're running to the employee, be it a black male or female. In most cases, it's a female. And usually the female has an attitude. I don't know if she's having a bad day. I don't know what it is. That is the representation of your business, the front person at the countertop. In most cases, it's a woman.
And lady, you are absolutely right. Donovan is black manosphere. You say so you have to consider the source. He is indoctrinated. Absolutely, because wait a minute.
I am not black manosphere. I'm a black man.
You are black
manosphere crap. I'm a black man. I'm a black man. I stand as a black man. Forget that manosphere crap.
We have heard you say that plenty of times.
I am a black man. I am not black
manosphere. You are part of the black manosphere.
But I can say you're a feminist. I can say the exact same thing.
And I'm not. But I'm not. You've never
heard
black
manosphere.
Wait a minute.
I'm not black manosphere.
Wait.
I'm not going to wait. I'm not black manosphere. I'm a black man.
I'm going to mute your mic because I let you speak and I don't cut you off. So don't be rude. You are part of the black manosphere because you have said time and time again that you are. But sometimes, because this is that waffling of an argument that you do. One moment you black manosphere and the next you not. But one thing about Demetria K, I've never said I'm a feminist. And the other thing too is, Donovan, you rattle on black manosphere talking points all the time because we went a whole 2 hours and something, did not get into the gender war, and you brought that up.
Bring up a gender war. I spoke as a man and my opinion. It has nothing to do with being a manosphere. I spoke as a black man, period.
Manosphere. Simone, you said being nonchalant is having an attitude. They are dismissive just because you're not yelling. Maximo says men don't argue and don't have bad attitudes. Manosphere. Simone says, doesn't mean you're not rude. Yeah, yelling does not mean you're not rude. But in my case, I was not being rude. I was simply pointing something out to the brother as I did not want to catch COVID as it was raging. I was very nice about it. Anybody who knows me knows because one thing I don't want you to do in a restaurant, I don't want you to even think about doing anything negative to my food. So I got common sense. I'm not going to go in there and be acting stupid. He just didn't like that a black woman had, said something to him in a very nice and respectful manner. And other thing about me, I train people on good customer service. So I kind of low key, I'm an expert. Very sneaky. And exactly another man blaming a black woman. With what was the point to even doing any of that? Metamorphosis. She says, when I was ICU, there were many black female nurses, one black male nurse. The black male nurse was more caring and compassionate. And that may be true in your situation. But to keep trying to bring up that, the reason why I'm really low-key pissed off about what Donovan just did, and I am pissed off because we talk about how we as Black people need to come together, and then somebody will interject some, I ain't gonna say the word, but will interject the divisive language. We have went all this time and did not talk about who was doing what to whom, this, that, and the other. Like I said, I saw Donovan, I think it was Rain, and a lady, a couple of y'all was in the comment section going back and forth about Black men and Black women. I purposely did not get into that. But when we bring that up, it's divisive. Because the one thing we're not ever going to do, and I'm never going to do, is agree that it's more Black women doing one thing, and I'm never going to agree that it's more Black men. We need to come together regardless, but continuing to try to talk and do manosphere talking points for what, Donovan? So to feed red meat to people who are already mad at Black women. I'm going to ask you right here in front of everybody, what's the point of you even doing that?
Again, you're taking it far left. That is not exactly what I said. And again, I used both aspects. I said male and female, but I said in most cases, you're running across a woman with a bad attitude. That's what I said.
He says this went to 1 to 1,000 quickly. It did. I'm just one of those people. I get tired of the divisiveness in our community, and at some point in time, we just got to stop participating in us being divided. We have so much distraction in the Black community, and we talk about the things that white supremacy do to us, but we never talk about the bait that we take from white supremacy. White supremacy laughs and smiles whenever they see Black men and women arguing against each other, talking about, well, yeah, that's the Black man's fault. It's the Black woman's fault. And I looked at this picture behind me. A Black woman built that goddamn company. A Black woman built that. And you know who she had working with her? Black men and women. She did that. Now, she didn't build that company by arguing and saying Black men ain't this or Black women are better. She built that company because she said we as Black people need to do as Marcus Garvey told us. Even after her time, she was actually ahead of Marcus Garvey and said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. Let's build something. But she didn't do that by arguing with Black men all day long and talking about y'all ain't nothing. I'm just going to do something for Black women. She had a lot of Black men working with her. I know that picture is skewed a little bit. There's a lot of Black men. That was her property, her house that she had, and she built with the unity of Black men and women. But I've said this, and I'm going to say this right now. Unless we as Black people cannot have a conducive conversation about how to build, I am not going to keep participating in the divisive language that we continue to do by blaming Black women and blaming Black men for the degradation of our community. Because at the end of the day, it's both of our fault that our community runs the way it does. We blame Black women for A, B, C, and D, but she could not be that without the man, and vice versa. And I want to reiterate, vice versa. Y'all talk about how the Black community is matriarchal, then why the hell y'all allow Black women to take over the Black community? Because if you tell me that, and I believe the Black community is matriarchal, but y'all saying that's the fault of Black woman, if y'all allowed us to do that, that speaks to y'all being weak. Now, I'm not saying that y'all weak, but these talking points that y'all keep on saying, oh, it's the Black woman, it's the Black woman, it's the Black woman. Where does the Black man fit in with our community being disjointed the way it is? And if you think about the civil rights movement, it was just as many Black men marching for civil rights as it was Black women. So we need to knock it off. Anybody got something else to say? How you doing, Mike? I'm just gonna skip down.
Yeah. Oh.
Pammy said, Demetri K. Donna said it's always a young lady in most cases. I know what I heard. I you know, one thing I don't like, and I'm gonna just keep it real with you, somebody try to play me as crazy. Like, oh, you crazy. I didn't say that. It's because it's like I heard what you said. But anyway, Jeremiah says, hey, once again, by the same snake, y'all enjoy yourselves. I'm tapping out. Keep this with you. One Africa and smiles always. Absolutely. Joanne says, Donovan, even white men are saying Black men get their throwaway, the ones they don't want, and y'all two are the same person. A throwaway, he says, when all your woman wants is for you to stand up for women. And someone says, I don't think you were rude, Demetra. Just I want to clear that up. No, I didn't think that you were, but I just kind of want to give that little bit of context. Mikey says, most of my experience are neutral when it comes to customer service with Black men and women. Yeah, I mean, I would say that is true. Now, have I had bad customer service from Black women? Yeah, I have. Have I had Black customer service from Black men? Yeah, I have. But I will say most of the customer service that I got from our people have been good. Like yesterday, I went to the restaurant. The young lady she was so nice. She was so nice. And when I went, my daughter, she came and she handed me the check. I said, "How you know I was paying?" Of course, I'm joking with her. She says, "Because I know you, her mama, and I do the same thing to my mama. We kiki and we ha, we laugh." But she was, very cordial. So I usually have good customer service when it comes to our people. So I don't know.
Right now, but the question was this: how many times do you encounter the owner of the business? That was the whole point of this whole thing. It's very rare you're going to encounter the owner of the business, period.
I mean, I don't know. I know that in many Black businesses, I encountered the owner, because a lot of times in those Black businesses, they can't afford to not be there, right? They have to work. But I don't know. I don't know if they were the owner or they weren't. I know the business we went to yesterday, both of the owners were there, the bicycle touring company and the owner of the restaurant. I guess it was her husband. They were both there, and they were, talking to people. I talked to the owner. She was very nice and all that. So I encountered both of the owners. So I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, and the encounters that I've dealt with, I rarely run into the owners. I deal with the person that's at the customer service counter, which is a hired hand, period. That was the whole point of it. You're rarely actually going to deal with the owner. And even if it's a small mom and pop operation, I get that. But usually, if it is, not usually, but in my experiences, the mom and pop operation, they're too busy worrying about the books and doing the back stuff and doing what they got to do. They still need somebody up at the counter.
Maximo said, I thought the picture was workers in the back of the White House. No, that's Via Lararo. That's the name of Madam C.J. Walker's house. It was, and all those are Black people on her estate. She had a party. Now, y'all know Madam C.J. Walker built a giant multi-million dollar company. And she did that because she said she was tired of washing white people's clothes. And she also did it to help other people, specifically, I will say women, to get off of the washer line, if you will. But along with that, she employed a lot of Black men as well. So those are all Black people at a Black woman's home that she built a business to help Black people.
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
And Demetra and Don, I'd like to add something. We're going to the Black business, and Don, you make a good valid. I know you make a good valid point regarding your experience when you enter a Black business dealing with females. And Demetra, you also have good valid points as well. I would say that it doesn't matter gender in the customer service. Yeah, people are always going to have bad days, of course, but so gender determine if a business is going to do well or not with customers. We also need to consider the operations, how the business is formed. Has the business owners trained their customers to write effective customer service on any given day? And to be honest, it's going to really be about patriarchy or matriarchy at all. And Demetra, you said something about that. We need to be more patriarchal when it comes to men leading. And it was on your last podcast, and this relates to the business that you're trying to have your people form. I say we should have neither patriarchy nor matriarchy, because having patriarchy dictating matriarchy is like, what's the point of forming a business together? Is just saying that, oh, men are good business owners. Men understand logic. They understand finances. But you also have women who are as effective business leader as men. And if you look at the service industries, especially running by women, most of the women either work in nursing, hair salon, food, because majority of male business owners either own financial companies, management, or other technical companies. So I really do think that we shouldn't be focused. We shouldn't be emphasizing that we need to be more patriarchal. I just say that we should really eliminate the message of matriarchy versus patriarchy, because at the end of the day, your brothers and sisters are going to need Black nurses, and Black nurses are the backbone of forming healthcare businesses, especially for the brothers and especially the brothers who get sick or they might need healthcare. So that's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, in regards to it being patriarchy, so I'm not saying in a sense that, it's a dictatorship, if you will, but most everybody else's community, the men lead. That doesn't say anything bad about the women. We know that women can be in leadership roles. We're not saying that at all. But even in your community, Michael, the Asian community, would you say is more patriarchal as far as the leadership, or would you say it's matriarchal?
I would say this. So I have a lot of experience with a lot of Asian businesses. It's changing right now. A lot of Asian female businesses are telling their men, we shouldn't, are telling their men that it's going to be about men controlling everything. And I'll give it controlling resources, expanding them, right? It's when you look at Korea. I would just use Korea as an example. I know it doesn't relate to the black issue, but I'll try my best to make it relate. A lot of Korean women nowadays saying to men they don't want babies because forcing women to have babies like, oh, women should stay home, take care of kids, not create businesses. And the younger generations of women saying, no, we're not going to do that because that was the past. Yes, we like to have kids, but we also like to explore career options. How can we create business for the community? So it's changing, Demetra. And in the Asian community, there's an issue with patriarchy and matriarchy. And yeah, I have an issue with my people, my community, the way how they treat women. I'm sorry, because we're not going to go back to a time where that men rule. And when I say men rule everything, I don't mean physically. I mean like verbally, economically. Those times are over. And it's not the way how this is not how society functions nowadays. It's different. I know in Donovan, in your guys' time, yes, it was different. Yes, men build businesses. Yes, men create jobs. But the tidal wave is changing. It's making a reverse or a trend.
And let me say this,
Sure.
Just really as a black woman, we ain't really trying to be leading like that. We really don't want to do that. Like I said, I love a man to lead me. I don't have a problem with that at all. We wish I do anyway. I know there's some sisters in our community that they want to wear the pants, all the pants in the closet or whatever, and I know that's probably dated language, but just for the sake of conversation, I know a lot of sisters is like, come on, black man, lead me, lead us. And so we're just waiting, and I know that's going to take some of the sisters to step aside and say, all right, brother, there you go, right? And that's going to also take for the brother to say, sit down, pretty lady.
Mhm.
I got it.
Yeah. And by the way, my doctor is a female, so just wanted to know females are capable too of leading like men. So it should really be both, to be honest. Because
yeah, but to me, it's not even to it's not even to say that women can't be doctors or anything like that. I'm speaking overall, right? I'm not talking about women have to be in the house and baking pies and cakes. I mean, some women want to work, and that's fine. I'm just saying in general. The woman does not need to be on the front line. The man needs to be on the front line. And in everybody else's community, the woman is not on the front line as much as the black woman is on the front line.
Maybe before you come in, but my community is changing because I've seen women in my community, they're being the front line too. Like front line, when I say front line, it not only include healthcare, but also include vocational trades. It also includes construction, baking, and even especially for the younger generations these days. If you're aware, because times are changing, Demetra and Donovan. It's not the same as it used to be 50, 60 years ago that you seen like men are being frontline workers, also women too. And we just have to move beyond the patriarchy versus matriarchy, because otherwise we emphasize patriarchy, and then what's in it for women? Because women are capable of making decisions just like men are.
Absolutely.
Michael, what you just said was, as your people become more assimilated to Western culture, your culture is going to be destroyed, because that's what Western culture does. Black women had to lead because of the position that they put black men in from slavery all the way forward. See, these are the differences that y'all don't understand. Black women had to lead. So what they've done effectively with all of the various different maneuvers and maniacal tricks that they've done to our people, they gave them the Kool-Aid to drink about the strong black independent woman and so forth and so on, trying to further create division between black men and women. But they got them other women who didn't have to be in a position of black women to drink the Kool-Aid. And the Kool-Aid was all about increasing tax revenue for them folks that want to get paid, that get paid off of our tax revenue, and also to indoctrinate your children at an earlier age. It's all about control, man. It's all about the societal control. Some of these conversations we don't even need to be having, because in the natural course of things, this is exactly what's supposed to be. The man is supposed to be leading. The man is supposed to be out front. The man is supposed to be protecting. The man is supposed to be providing. We have different roles. That's why we have different sexes. I hate that word gender, because that's another social construct. Just like I don't say black, I say Negro. Negro has a history, for those who know history. And it has a greater history than just here in the United States as listed on my birth certificate. So it's all about really understanding you can't fight, you can't have a good debate or discussion if you don't have the historical facts and so forth together. You can't come up with a cohesive argument. And when you come to somebody like me, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. And right now, they're destroying your community. They're destroying all of them.
Yeah, this one I would counter that what you said. I would disagree that the Western culture destroying the Asian communities. I would disagree with that because, and this was before colonization happened in Asia. A lot of the Asian women had to work under the men, unfortunately, deal with a lot of abuses from their men. And you're right, yes, the experiences are not the same. But a lot of the women in my community are telling their husbands or their men, it's enough is enough. Yes, we like to raise kids. Yes, that's a role, but it shouldn't be the only role. Because a lot of women are as independent as men when it comes to working, forming businesses, just like you said earlier. And yes, we should. Yeah, and yes, you're correct. We shouldn't be using gender terms. It's a different conversation. But I'll say this. Let me ask you this, Don, P. When you go to see a doctor or you go sick, who's the first thing you see? Is it a female nurse, female doctor, or any kind of providers you could seek treatment? Just curiosity.
Who do I seek treatment from?
What I mean is, like,
is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, you said that men are providers, right? They're protectors, right? So let's say that you get sick, right? You get into an accident, and you need medical. I mean, you need to seek. Let's say you need to seek medical care to get better, right?
Michael, I see where you're going. I see where you're going. It has nothing to do with what I said. It has absolutely nothing to do with what I said.
Right. I'm just saying that they're.
Okay, I'm talking about role. I'm talking about roles. You're talking about occupations.
Well,
these are two different things. And I will say this. I'm hearing our Negro women going, "Hey, I want to come back home. I don't want to be out there no more. I want to be in that role, the role that I was created to be in."
Right.
Like I told you, man, you got that Western mindset. The reason to get women into the workforce was to increase the tax revenue.
Right, but you also have to.
So them folks that print our money.
Manufacturing jobs in the last 40, 50 years, which has.
Let me say this.
That doesn't have anything to do with. That doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It does.
Hold on.
Because they used to be providers.
Hello.
In the last 40, 50 years. I'm sorry, Dimitri. I didn't mean to. I'm just keeping it calm and reasonable as much as possible. I apologize.
No, that's okay. No, I know things get heated, and I don't want them to.
Oh no, I'm just passionate. I'm passionate. I'm not heated.
You know, I know I get accused of being mad too. I'm passionate, so I totally get it. But yeah, I agree, Don. We are talking gender versus occupation. But let me say this. Let me answer this question really quick. Facts, not feelings. You said most Black women want to integrate with white men. Studies prove that already. Most, we're going to go with that word. Most Black women want to date and marry and have kids with white men. That's called integration, not that have the option to keep it real. And that's a lie. Tell me, brother, where these studies are. Hold on a second. That's here. Tell me where you saw the study where most black women want to date and marry and have kids with white men. Where is this study at? Well, where's this study? Because I don't know most black women have said I want to have and be with white men, because we know that most black women are with black men, as most black men are with black women. So where y'all getting these numbers from that most black women want to be with white men? I'm asking. You said, hold on, okay, show me this data. I'm looking, and I'm gonna wait. You say, hold on, I'm gonna wait. Let's see here.
Well, here's a better question. What is this? What is the statistic of white men marrying black women or dating black women, whatever? What's the basic statistic, if you know off the top of your head? I don't know.
I don't, and you know why I don't know? Because I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Because 80% of black people marry black people, correct?
That's what I'm saying. We marry each other at high rates. So as far as us wanting to be with white black women wanting to be with white men, there's some, but I wouldn't argue that it's most. It's probably very few. But see, again, we can't be up on the internet talking about, because we're seeing people talking about divesting, that represents all black women. It just does not, or even most. Common Man says, and we're finna get out of here. I know we've been on here almost 3 hours. Common Man says, African Americans have lost some men.
So many men
in war over the last 100 years. That is was impossible for the equality of A1 men to lead black communities, and that doesn't include drugs and prison. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. Someone most is over 50, so yeah, we need to see that. I'm waiting. D. Griffin, he says, I would never want to be with a white man. Yeah, so there's a black woman right there. I don't know. I'm trying to think, do I know any black woman that says she want to be with a white man? I personally don't. Imprez, he says, okay, yep, facts. The brother caller speaking some truth. Western culture is deadly. It is. It has a negative influence on a lot of people and places all over the world. Easy. I tend to think that data is false too, but I'm gonna wait. Yeah, most of us prefer black men, so I'm waiting. And you hearing it from black women, facts not feelings. We telling you that most of us prefer black men, so I'm trying to see what study you about to come up with. Pinky says a lot of black women with white men are living more comfortable seeing it firsthand. That's what they tell you, right? And I'm gonna leave it at that, because that'll start another argument. But I was gonna say a lot of sisters are just pushing up daisies too in some of those households. But
this is not argument. This is conversation and debate. That's all it is.
So Factory says, I said want to, not actually. Where's the data? D. Griffin says, show me that data, because I've never been attracted to white men. Yeah, so we got black women telling you. Rain says, yes, that's a damn lie. Slavery is over. I will not ever be with a white man willingly, for real, okay? And you say, my children are black. Tisha says, I'm going to put it out there. He says, I'm in the snow now, okay? So she's saying she's with a white man, but I married a black man, stayed married for 20 years, and had beautiful black babies. Sometimes life happens. I wasn't looking for a white man.
Let me ask this question. When it comes to somebody you happen to fall in love with, how many of us actually look at a person that says, well, I know people have a preference, but when you fall in love with somebody, you say, well, they've got to be Asian or they got to be this. Don't you just fall in love with that person for how they are or what they do, or you just like them or whatever they do? Like I said, preference is one thing. If you prefer to date a specific, that's your thing. But sometimes, just like what's her name was saying there, Tisha was saying, sometimes, it just happens. You fall in love with who you fall in love with, and you don't see the color. You really don't.
I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you, because I hate that narrative. And we about to get out of here, that you can't help who you fall in love with. Yes, you can. You can help who you fall in love with, because you hear a lot of times people say, "Well, I couldn't help that I fell in love with your husband. I can't help that I fell in love with your wife." You can help it. You just chose not to. So we can help it. And, I'm one of those people like, yeah, I need to be with me a brother. You know what I mean? No shade to Asians or white people or Hispanics. My daddy is a black man. I'm gonna be with a black man because I don't think that there's any man greater than my black daddy, who has been a very fine example of a black man. So I never even thought that I'm gonna seek something. That's just me. Seek something outside of my great black daddy. So I don't know what to tell you. Roosevelt said yes, yay. Black love over everything, y'all. Yep. Simone says your first initial attraction is looks. Absolutely. It's just keep it 100. Pam says I don't trust statistics because numbers can be manipulated all day long. D say I don't see why you don't see color. I see color every day. Yeah, I do too. Donovan said preference is one thing if your specific preference. Brother Sammy says the black woman had been free to be with the white man, but for the most part, she stayed with us. Sure did. Marty says, as you can see, Minnesota is now going to be paying for college for illegals, aliens, paying for them beautiful housing in gray areas, but won't cover a regular student loan. Demetri, address this. Well, we've been addressing it. It's true. It's not just there in Minnesota. It's everywhere. We're seeing it take place. They are taking care of them while thumbing their nose at black people. But we have a choice in that. We could just not show up for the Democrats who are doing it. It's not the Republicans that's doing that, Moni. I know you're big time, you don't like the Republicans, and I understand why, but it's not the Republicans that's doing that. It's the Democrats that are doing that. Teacher says you choose to love who you want to love. Yep, you do have a choice. Rain says, I belong to black men, period. And let's see. Miss President says, pink toes is a hard pass for me. Not interesting. I love my brothers, period. Deliberately seek out my own black love is magical. Yep. Roosevelt says love and attraction are different energies, but that's in many people's heads. All right. So let me go ahead and get out of here. I know you guys have been on here for a very long time, and we love and appreciate you, Donovan. Thank you for being on here. I know you're waiting to get your chicken, watch a game, to walk the dog, do something. Mary says Black Americans don't complain how you voted for it. Illegals first. Yeah. So we need to do better. Also want to thank YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the other side of the conversation for being here. We love and appreciate you. Black people voting third party, Jay the Informant and Brother Don, Black America, and anybody else. Then we had Tyrone come up here. Anybody else that came up here, give your opinion. We love and appreciate you all for that. Also want to say, yes, you will see Donovan and I go to fisticuffs, and if we were in person, we probably would move some furniture. I'm just playing. I don't go there with Donovan. He has like 400 black belts, and with one shot, he could finish me.
No. What the problem is? I'm a big Ike Turner. I'm a big Ike Turner fan. So
right,
after you get off this show, I'm gonna be. What the problem is?
Right. And so the one thing me and Donovan don't do, we gonna argue every once and again, but at the end of the day, it is all love. So. Family, and Donovan is my family. We argue, as we do here on this show. So I don't want you guys to think that Donovan and I will never speak again. It's not the case. So anyway, we love and appreciate y'all. Yes, for everything. Facts Not Feelings says, Shay. I forgot all about it. You should have just let us forget. It says Shay Sade covered the story of dating preferences of all women, including black women, and it showed that all women prefer white men first. That ain't what you said, brother. You said most black women want to be with a white man. Now, I know a little bit about, I think that's how you say her name, Shay Sade. I know she's part of the manosphere as well. She is big time, the man. And so she said that. I want to know where she got her numbers from. And I'm going to say, if y'all see Shay Sade in these YouTube streets, tell her I said bullshit. So anyway, we love and appreciate you guys. Please have a great rest of your day. And for those of you guys who have donated to the channel, we love and appreciate you for that as always. If you like, subscribe, anything, we love and appreciate you. We could not be what we are doing without you. So you guys, please do have a great rest of your evening. We will see you all Tuesday where we will have another live discussion. Got to eat my Wheaties. Peace.